Buddy, for the first episode of Amalgamation Nation of 2021. I honestly don't remember what episode. Oh, it's episode number 122, in case everybody's curious and wants to keep track. It is episode 122, and for the first time, we are streaming on the Twitter at AMNationPod. Also on YouTube, search Amalgamation Nation, streaming there. And on Facebook, facebook.com/Amalgamation Nation. And, of course, as always, we're streaming on twitch.tv/UndeadRedBull. While you're there, if you're on the Twitch channel, make sure you follow and give a sub. If you have Amazon Prime, you do get one free sub a month. So, give it to Undead Red Bull. Appreciate it. If you're listening on your podcast platform of choice, such as Spotify, Google, Apple, appreciate you. Thank you for listening to that as well. Make sure you're followed and subscribed on there, too. I would appreciate that. So, of course, before we get into things today, on this episode, we're going to talk about the MLB offseason being kind of slow. We're going to talk about NFL playoffs. We're going to talk about the College Football Championship, Ohio State versus Alabama, and so much more. Without further ado, let me introduce the crew. First, from North Carolina, Brendan B.K. Kennerly. BK, how was your break? Because we had a good old 2-week break.
It was good. It was chill. Nothing special. I put in a ceiling fan.
Oh. That's it. He's like, did you have a good New Year's? Oh, well, there we go. Awesome. Also joining us, Petey Tahiti Argus. Pete, how was your break in your New Year's?
It was good, man. Pretty low key. How basically everyone's been, but no, it wasn't bad. Nothing to complain about. How was yours?
Oh, thanks for asking. It was all right. Kind of chill for the most part. Did a few things for New Year's Eve, and that was about it. And then I spent the next day kind of recovering and chilling. And then I watched a bunch of anime per usual. And that was about it. And then I also watched Notre Dame and Clemson get embarrassed. But we'll get into that. We're going to get into it. Rounding out the crew this evening from twitch.tv/UndeadRedBull, David, how are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. How's it going?
Good. Melissa, hello. Hello in the chat. Hello. Welcome to the show. Also, so now, David, you're going to be in charge of the Twitch chat. I have to be in charge of this chat. I can't do both. I can't. My eyes can't do that. You know what I'm saying? They can't. And rounding it out as the hostess with the mostest, I am the anime watching. Swole Team 6 flexing, Garage Guy sleeping, Olivia Munn's liking, John Cena's following, hostess with the mostest himself, Ryan Green Machine Ebner. Thank you. I tried something new. It's a new year. I wanted to mix it up. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Let's get into this. Let's start with some hockey news, right? Hockey is returning January 13th. For anybody that's excited, good on you. I'm glad you're excited. I personally will tell you this. The Hawks look really rough. We'll look like we're going into full-on rebuild mode. So I'm going to start with the Hawks fans first. Pete, where are you at on the Hawks? Also, as a bonus question, would you be open to trading Taves or Kane? And or both?
Well, to start with the Hawks, I'm already thinking, when does the season end? So that we can just, get through the season. Let's just get a countdown going so the season could be over with already. And then in terms of trading Kane or Taves, no, you got to keep them. I'm looking at their deals. You have them, for the next 2 years, including this year. So it's 3 years total you still have. No, you got to keep these guys, see what you can do. But, no, it's just, it started with the Kirby Doc thing and, him getting hurt and, not knowing when he's going to come back. This is a big year for him development-wise. And then you get Taves with him being out. It's the Blackhawks were already shorthanded. And who in the heck knows who's even going to be able to stop the puck? Who are we going to have as our goaltender, for God's sake?
Oh, no.
So, yeah, hey, it's hard to score, when you keep giving up goals. So, I don't know. They had such a great end to last year. They're in the bubble. It was they beat Edmonton, and it was just, I don't know. I'm just not looking forward to it. It's just, and especially, hey, let's just start off the first game versus the Lightning. Come on. Slap in the face.
It's awful. It's going to be. I talked about this before where it's Hawks fans, listen, if you're new, you only got here in like 2010, hello, welcome. This is what it used to be like, okay? There was a dark, dark time. You couldn't even watch the Hawks on TV. I know David remembers. I know for a fact David remembers not being able to watch the Hawks on TV and being able to go to the stadium for like $50 and having great seats. So, David, as we now look to probably enter another dark period for the Chicago Blackhawks, where are you at on where they're going? And also, as a bonus question, would you trade Taves or Kane, or both?
So obviously we're going back into the dark times again.
Dark, dark times.
So we'll see how things go with that. But man, trade one of the two, that'd be rough because they've always been our key core forever. I don't see it happening. Obviously, if the deal's right, they may do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be hard. No one's gonna train for Taves or for Taves right now just because they don't know his situation. So I don't think no one's gonna be like, yeah, we'll trade for him right now. But everyone will pay for the house for Kane because he's still probably top 10 player in the league. So maybe even top 5, depending. But he needs, when he's on our team, he looks rough because he's by himself trying to do everything he can on the line, and he just has no help. But yeah, Pete basically summed it up. We don't have a goalie, so it's gonna be let's have a basically bring up some young kid, and you never know, young kid could be a stud and come out of nowhere, and but in order for him to be good, you need a defense, and we know we don't have a defense, so it's gonna be hard for he's gonna be working his ass off even if he is good. So it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I think the Hawks, like I said, it's going to be a dark time. You just got to brace for it. It's all right. It's just like every other time, or recently a lot of Chicago teams. You got to embrace the suck, and we'll see what happens. I mean, for me, if we're going to move off of Taves or we're going to move off of Kane, it's going to take a lot, and I know, like, once you do that, once one of the moves are made, like, that's the end. It's the end for, I think, a big portion of your fan base, just because I think that there's so many Hawks fans that are truly, are newer. They've been here for about a decade now, maybe a little bit more, and that's about it. So to lose one of the core or both, I mean, Lord, I think that would really suck. But it obviously depends on what the package you would get back. Also, I did just see the Dr. Dre thing that Dr. Dre is in the ICU in LA with a brain aneurysm. I'm low-key sad as shit. I looked at the Twitch chat real quick, and I was like, what y'all talking about over there? And I was like, oh no, nothing good, man. Damn. Well, hopefully Dr. Dre will be all right. That'd be really sad. BK, I'm gonna switch to you here for the Caps. Where are you at? We got Big Z.
Big Z is a great signing, but it comes on the back of the bad news from I'm gonna say his name wrong, Henrik Lundqvist, not playing this season for the Caps, undergoing open heart surgery for an aortic valve replacement, aortic root, and aortic replacement in general.
Are you a doctor? You said those words so well.
Nailed it.
It's from his Instagram. So fun fact. That's what it's like that old Twitter thing. It's like, well, who's the source on this? I am the source. Came from. So definitely prayers up for him. I do have, I'm not gonna say high expectations, but reasonably high expectations for the Caps because they are returning a lot of people. Henrik's gonna be a decent size loss for us, but Ilya Samsonov was going to be the starter coming into the season, in my opinion. So I think that's just kind of going to cruise along. But the backup netminder, that's going to be Dan Copley and Vancek. So we'll see who emerges out of the two.
It's also going to be a really stacked division you're in. So
yeah, it always is.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for everybody. We, like Pete mentioned, Hawks start off against Tampa. BK, do you know who the Caps start with? Because I don't.
Just had it pulled up and I just switched off to go back to football.
Oh,
my bad.
Well, they're doing something. I don't know what, but we'll figure it out. But yes. Oh, there you go.
The Sabres.
There you go. So we will see. Elaine says, I hope they put Wilson and Chara on the same line. We will see. We'll see. I will tell you what. You ain't gonna get a lot of hockey talk from me.
It'll be like a UFC fight out there. It'll be like a Royal Rumble, like wrestling style. There's just gonna be chairs. It's gonna be wild. It's fisticuffs.
Going over the ropes, but it's just the benches. I get it. I'm picking up what you're throwing down. Good timing. Now, BK, for the people that are listening live, and maybe they haven't listened to the podcast before, shame on you, but you should. Welcome now. It's my favorite time of the sports show because I get a break. Because BK, take him to the pitch.
Intro music or anything like you did the last few times?
Oh yeah. BK, take him to the pitch. Don't DMCA us, Twitch. That was all original.
It's a BB Green Machine, 2-time garage champion. I'm watching Gator chomping, John Cena liking, Olivia Munn thrusting. I don't know.
Which is the
Lord, my Lord. God bless her.
So, if y'all haven't been listening to the podcast, this is the part where I just talk about soccer and everyone else kind of just shuts up and they're not really going to talk. So, and you're just going to have to listen to me. Arsenal have been sucking for the most part here ever since they started this new season. Hadn't won a game most of November and all of December until here recently. They finally won a game, and they happen to have won 3 in a row. They beat Chelsea 3-1, beat Brighton 1-0, and then beat West Brom 4-0 in a snow game. I actually linked the YouTube highlights for the guys. I don't know if they wanted to watch them or
How's it
not.
going, Max?
But the snow highlights,
You
pretty
listen?
cool. After Arsenal beat Chelsea, their
Make
head
an offer.
coach Frank Lampard is on the hot seat. His team has 1 win out of their last 7 games, so he is now on the hot seat. You might see that come up later on down the line. It's not super uncommon for a relatively new head coach. Part of Arsenal's resurgence here has been their striker up front, Alexander Lacazette, the Frenchman. He's been absolutely huge during this stretch. He has 4 goals in those 3 games, so he's really just coming up clutch. And the Hale End Academy graduates have been doing really well for Arsenal. Emil Smith-Rowe and Bukayo Saka. Essentially, the Hale End Academy graduates is essentially like the minor leagues. That's what it is for soccer there.
Oh.
And then it's a January transfer window, just for, I guess, for newbies listening here. Like, you have the summer transfer window and you have the January one. That's the only time players can move teams and move leagues, because there's lots of professional soccer leagues. And so 2 Arsenal players have already gone out on loan, which doesn't mean being traded. It just means like you're taking this guy for the rest of the season and then he comes back. But the other team's paying his wages.
So you're borrowing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No interest or anything. So there's Seed Kolasinac, I can never say his name right. Kolo and William Saliba, the young Frenchman, have both gone out on loan. Kolo to Schalke and Saliba to Nice, which is really good for Saliba. He's really, I think he's 19 years old. Arsenal defender. We bought him the other year outright. He hasn't played it just because he's not experienced enough, not physical enough, not ready for the EPL just yet in the grueling schedule, because the schedule is a little bit longer. So it'll be good for him to get some experience the rest of the season before he hopefully kind of goes into the first team next year. And then going to Ryan's team here, the Wanderers, a.k.a. the Wolves. It's been a little rough here in December around the holiday season. They drew against Tottenham 1-1, lost to Man U 1-0, and then also drew against Brighton 3-3. Hoping they can bounce back here after the new year. I think Arsenal's actually ahead of them in the table, if not like right there with them. So it just kind of shows you with Arsenal, even that 3-game losing streak, a lot of teams are still right there in it together to hopefully not get relegated. And the one I want to end here is that the EPL, the English Premier League, has seen record. Wow, I can't talk now that we're actually doing this live. It's so awesome. Cases with 30 positive tests from December 28th to January 3rd here. So you're seeing this in the EPL. I think you're starting to see it in the NFL and NBA as well. Is this going to be a common thread just going in for 2021 here with all of our sports guys?
I am interested to see where the cases go. The NBA, I know, released like their first batch of numbers and they were good. but that would be something to keep an eye on throughout, right? We're going to get into it later in the show with the NFL, well, specifically the city of Cleveland, and for some reason, really going hard to get some COVID up in there. But it is interesting to see where the trend does take it. Them having 40 or a record number of cases, that's crazy. I really didn't think. I thought that it would be a little bit calmer, but then I guess you take into consideration the holidays and everything, right? So we will see.
And part of the problem, especially with Europe, you got to think it's different for us over here in North America. I mean, we really only have two neighbors, one above us. You think Europe, all the countries are a lot closer together. There's still more traveling between them, and so that's been the issue, especially when there was a little break. A lot of players, come from different countries, so there's a lot of international travel that's making things sketchy.
That,
Mr. BK, we have a question for you.
Oh.
What's that?
All right, coming from Mr. Supermex 26, which definitely is not your age. How does he feel about pretty much letting organizations borrow players for the sake of stats simply for having more money?
So all teams do this, and I do. It's not as abused as much in the EPL. I'm not sure with the Mexican League. It was a league at MX, I believe. I think that's what it is.
Especially in the Mexican League, it gets abused quite a bit. That's what you just put.
Yeah. I switched back to the Twitch chat so I could see that one. It's not abused terribly, at least especially in the EPL with like the loans, because you can put on all these qualifiers. So we're like, okay, if we overplay you, he can't play against us. And then it all really comes down to like the wages, because if Arsenal, like if they have a guy who's not playing, they're going to be more willing to negotiate and kind of pawn off the guy for. That's trying to sound terribly mean. To really, it's up to the other team how much do they want to accept of his wage bill, because he's not going to make less money. That only happens after a complete transfer. So alone, he still has to make the same amount of money, and it has to come from somewhere. So either if it's coming 100% from the new team, or the old team's picking up 60, 50, 40, whatever it may be. But for the most part, you see a lot of transfers. And the EPL, you're going to see even more transfers compared to loans because of Brexit. Brexit's affecting a lot of that. In terms of getting work visas to come over, you can't really work that. You can't really work one out for a loan because it's not permanent. So I think you're going to see a lot more transfers, and just the loans as well. It's kind of like when you trade for a guy at the deadline. Think of it like that, where he's on expiring contract. So you're not really getting long-term value from him. It's more or less a short-term gain and a gamble. Like Arsenal have a guy on loan, Dani Ceballos, from Real Madrid, who wasn't playing there. He came to Arsenal this season. He did okay, and so then they kind of were like, "Hey, like, we can't really sell him. You guys won't buy him on the transfer. So why don't we just work this transfer again, or this loan again, excuse me, and then just work out the financials that way." And so I almost like it that way, because the player is still getting money, and then the agent doesn't make any money, because when transfers happen, the agents get a huge cut, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
I was going to say, Frank did say that a lot of loans in soccer have the loan with an option to buy, which is what you just touched upon. So
yeah, Arsenal, I wish would get a heck of a lot better at that, but they really frickin' suck at that. There are buyback clauses, and then there are even sell-on clauses. So Mesut Ozil, who actually plays for Arsenal, but he's been relegated just to the bench, and that's a whole other thing. He's been sold a few times before he even made it to Arsenal, and his original German team had a sell-on clause. So every time he is sold as transferred, they get a cut of that, the original club. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that part.
Well, that's pretty sweet. BK, thank you for taking us to the pitch. Because I'll tell you what, no one else here would have done it. So appreciate it. Let's jump to the hardwood. Pete, what's going on? What your first really early thoughts on the Chicago Bulls?
I mean, it's expected. At least out of the gate from the Bulls. I mean, I thought they were going to be struggling, at least at the beginning. Billy's got to figure out, what his rotation is. who he trusts, in everything. I would say a big surprise has been Patrick Williams. I think he's played really well. I feel like he's been a good surprise that they've had there so far. But I mean, it's a young Bulls team, so it's kind of what I expected.
Oh, yeah, no, it is. It is really young, and you're seeing bits and pieces of it, right? Zach LaVine, Kobe White. We're seeing flashes where it looks pretty good, but you are correct. It's a young Bulls team. It'll figure it out. Maybe some of us on the NBA show drank the Kool-Aid a little bit on the Bulls. Maybe that happened.
Hey, it's early, man. They're not eliminated yet.
That's right. We're still in it. Mathematically, we're always in it. Let's go Bulls.
Let's go.
David, have you yourself watched a little bit of the Bulls thus far?
Very little.
Very little. Okay. That's
I've
why
really been interested too much into it. Obviously they started off bad, and I was like, all right, cool. And then I watched a little bit of the Wizards game just so, because of BK. Thanks, BK.
Thanks for the dub.
Thanks for our dubs. Thanks for our dubs.
Gang. And now I bet we'll play the Wizards again later in the season. Get stopped. Like, I'll just be like, shit. Well, at least we picked up a couple. Speaking of those Wizards, BK, how are your Wizards looking? What's your early thoughts on them?
Sucks coming out of the gate. I think a lot of that has to do with Hachimura just getting pink eye because someone wanted to fart on his pillowcase, knocked up style. That's a I guess it's semi-old movie reference now. He's a good matchup guy. You saw him defend KD, and yeah, you're not going to fully stop KD, but he's going to make it tough just because of his length. And he's had double figures every game he's been back, even against the Bulls there, because he came back the second game against the Bulls, in which the Wizards lost 133-130. Like I said, the Wizards have looked good since he's come back on a 2-game win streak. So beat the Nets the other night with KD and KD before he has a COVID somehow. So, but I don't know. I still hate Russell Westbrook. I hate him.
Yeah,
I still hate him.
He does not like him
right now.
Yeah,
that?
He does kind of suck right now. Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I also want to point out before we move on here to baseball, Pete, thanks for beating my ass in fantasy basketball, bro. Like I don't even know what's going on. Man put up almost 1,800 points. I have no idea. I was just sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Tim got like 100 something from Steph the other night when he put up 60 something points, and I was like, good lord, like this is nuts. So thank you, Pete. Appreciate it. Keep doing you. Keep doing you, man.
Well, no, I think it's funny. I think for that team, because I have 2 fantasy basketball teams. Yeah. It's funny that we had we were talking about Russell Westbrook. Westbrook on my fantasy team, killing it. That's what he is. He's a stat sheet stuffer.
Sure is. Because he ain't gonna win you no championship, but he might win you a fantasy championship. He might. Stud. And either way, I celebrate. That's cool, man. I like Russell Westbrook. I played Dalton this week. Oh, all right.
Oh, dude, you're screwed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, his team's good. His team is good. Yeah. Whew. Sitting at 0-2.
Dude.
He's like, right? And it's
injuries crush me.
Like, it's just for fun, right? You don't have to come out here and fucking whoop everyone's ass.
But what's so funny is that like it's the same thing. Like he's not like most of us. Like we're not even changing our lineups. A lot of us. Like we're just kind of looking at it, and he doesn't either. It's just his team's good. I was like, oh, all right then, cool. Like I asked Tim, like, Tim, do you even like switch your lineup around? He was like, no, I just every so often I check the score, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, and that's it. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm glad we're all on the same pace.
Players here and there, but my team sucks. So
I couldn't even tell you who I should pick up at or not, so I don't even do that. Damn.
Just look at free agents and like, yeah, fuck it.
Let's see. We've got the 0-2 squad is BK Jr. and myself. So
Carl and Anthony Towns are both my top 2 draft picks. For a while, I'm just screwed. Then TJ Warren just went down. I need an IR slot.
It didn't, It didn't give me an option for that, bro.
I need something. I need an outside or something. I'll pick up TJ Warren like back again. Like I'm so screwed.
Sorry. We'll figure it out.
You just found out that he lost his very first 2 games, I guess.
Oh yeah, Junior. There you go, bud. There you go. Sorry, man. But yeah, it's all right. We're gonna pull it around here. The Vancouver Breezy. We're gonna make a comeback. I can't wait. But we'll find out. Man, but yeah, it's not good. Speaking of, I guess, well, I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask, whether it's good or not. Let's start with the Cub fans here. So the Padres were making some moves, right? Picked up Blake Snell and trade with the Rays. That was pretty sweet. Then the Cubs traded Yu Darvish to the Padres. So my question is, Pete, what do you think of the trade?
I mean, let's, embrace the suck. It's just like you got, I think, what was it, maybe 2 or 3 more years like with Darvish on his deal. He just came off second place there in the Cy Young. Like, his value is not going to be higher than it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because, let's just be honest. Before this year, Yu's been kind of a disappointment there with the Cubs. So they sold high for him. The farm system is trash. You got a bunch of guys here. I think they got like 4 or 5 players out of it. And I think, and the one was Zach Davies. So at least you have a veteran starter to at least, obviously he's not Yu Darvish, but at least you have a piece that's going to be in your starting rotation for next year. So you got that back. That's just what the Cubs are going to do. They're going to be selling off, right now. And I think the thing is, I think they're going to be selling off because I think they're going to try to keep some of their core. I think that's what they're thinking about, whether it's Baez, Bryant, Rizzo's going to be up here soon. I think they're trying to save money for those guys where they can, and they found a solution there with Yu Darvish. So I'm okay with the deal. I'm
going to tell you, Rizzo's got cornrows, and if he keeps them, Cubs are going to win the World Series. I'm all in.
Yeah.
That's fucking sweet.
It's either that or we're getting in last place.
One of the two.
I think there's no
medium. There's no middle ground. It says embrace the suck sounds like every person talking about sports who lives in Northeast Ohio. Well, it's
Oof.
Yeah.
I feel like that's very disrespectful because the Browns.
She also lives in Northeast Ohio though, so it's like, experience. I guess that's what we'll call it.
Okay.
So it's like it's valid. Like when you've been scarred for so long by a city. Like I guess that's probably what that is. Oh, we're going to get to the Browns. We're going to. I almost started off the show when I was doing all my names. I was going to call myself the Cleveland hating. But, I don't really hate Cleveland. There's no hate. There's no real hate. I just do it to mess with people. But I don't hate Cleveland. You know what I mean? Get on them. I hate people on Cleveland sports Twitter that, don't, can't control themselves, for Christ's sakes. Then I get a little aggravated. I'm like, all right, come on, man. Listen,
they're not used to winning.
Oh, I get it, man. I get it. I got this Baker shirt sitting in the drawer, and it's like I understand. I liked Baker Mayfield, but I also understand there's a
shirt.
Oh yeah, I got Baker Mayfield shirt.
Yeah, BK, who do you think got it for him?
That's right.
How many shirts of quarterbacks do you have that are in the NFL right now?
Currently?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew. And I have a cool Jaguars Blake Bortles one. Yeah.
You have a Mitch Trubisky jersey, right?
Jersey, not shirt, but I have a jersey. Yeah.
I guess I'm talking about current quarterback player memorabilia.
Oh well, then it's just those 3, a Mitch Trubisky jersey. I think all the other quarterback jerseys I have, they're already retired or gone.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure if you had Kyler Murray or you had a lock one just hanging around
No.
Lock one, that's funny.
I do have a really sweet.
All these quarterbacks. I think David's with you. It's just whatever quarterback Ryan doesn't like, that's the one I want.
What a prick.
Yep.
I'll tell you.
I'll tell you, it's worked out pretty well.
Oh. Well, you know what? It is what it is, man. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I do have 2 sweet Blake Bortles jerseys. One white and one of the color rush of Jaguars, pretty sweet. And then I have the Jay Cutler Bears jersey as well as the Jay Cutler orange Miami Dolphins jersey. So,
oh my god,
let me tell you, I love them.
Cigarette smoke, smell with it?
Yeah,
Did it come with that?
Yeah, it sure did.
Oh, nice.
Sure did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, authenticity.
It is. Now, before I derail myself even more, David, as a Cub fan, how do you feel about the Yu Darvish trade?
It was a little shock at first because we weren't expecting it, but how Pete kind of mentioned, it's the highest that his value will probably ever be. We are in definitely, I would say, a rebuild, which is kind of hard to say when you win the division. You're like, oh, you're in a rebuild? I'm like, yeah, pretty much. But I mean, last year was kind of like, all right, cool. We'll win some games, we'll lose some games, we'll tie. We'll, come like near 500 area range. So nothing big for us. Obviously, we're moving from some pieces, and obviously we need money going forward. And we wanted to be underneath that salary cap threshold because we want to keep paying luxury tax. So got to build the farm up. So I'm for the trade. So let's see how it goes forward. Hopefully it pays off for us because we need some young talent.
100%. Yeah, I get it, man. You gotta rebuild the farm. We were doing that for like almost 2 decades, so it's cool. It is what it is. BK, my question to you is really about the Padres as a whole. Where are you at here with the Padres going in on Blake Snell and then going in and getting you Darvish? What's your thoughts on the Padres moving forward?
Ring, baby.
Yeah.
Manny Machado. Get him the ring. He deserves it. He was close with the Royals, and then the Royals are gonna suck for another 4 years. So good for him. I'm glad the Padres are going all in. They're not a team I feel like that everyone hates. They're just not one of those teams. It's kind of like, oh, okay, hey, you go Glen Coco.
Exactly.
You go Glen Coco.
Exactly. I know on Monday nights, Josh and I talked about it, and like I look at it as you got to understand where the window's at, and that right now you got to get it now. You can't wait. Sometimes you have to take those chances, and I like as a Sox fan, right? I was just sitting there like, man, it would have been really cool if we can get an ace. That'd be really cool. And then they got a drunk manager instead. So it is what it is. Shout out to Tony Russo, man. Whew. Rough. Can't wait to see. Also, I just wanted to point out that MLB offseason being so boring sucks. It just sucks.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, it's dead. There's nothing happening.
It's
nothing.
It's completely. I thought this after the Machado Harper offseason where I'm like, man, this is just fucking boring. Like, you have two guys at that point, two guys that you talk about being, studs for the league, and then like there should be way more eyes on this. There should be way more attention around it. And it sucks. It really does. Oh, Shy Brush. Yeah, Jerry is broke. Jerry Reinsdorf broke his shit. Apparently. It's like the Cubs. Broke his shit. Is what it is. I don't know how you own a sports franchise and then you're broke as shit, but apparently they are. Anything else? Oh, Pete. The Cubs hired a new play-by-play guy. Are you excited?
Yeah, John Sciambi. I didn't know this dude was available. I'm hyped. I mean, Len Casper, obviously, I love him. I wish him the best there with the Sox. I know he wanted to do his radio gig. For a long time, it was going to be his dream job. I get it. But, hey, this is a home run hire. This dude is good. I mean, I think he brings a little bit more to the telecast than what you're looking for. I mean, he brings a little bit of extra. So I'm all about it. I think he's hilarious. So I think this is a home run hire there for Marquee.
Let's go Cubs. There you go.
Do it, man. Let's do it. Yeah, let's cheer on this. Probably I don't even know what place they're going to finish in because the whole entire NL Central is basically tanking. So who knows? Maybe they'll win the division.
Yeah, I'm glad that we don't have to worry about it for a prediction show until God knows when, because we don't know when baseball is going to be back. We have no clue. February, March, April, May. I don't know. We're going to find out. Eventually. Let's move on here to college football and college basketball. Let's start with what happened over New Year's Day. Notre Dame, stop embarrassing yourself. Just stop. Stop embarrassing the Catholics on national TV, man. This is what happens every time. Every time. Rudy didn't do what he did for this to happen, man. This is just, God, unbelievable. I knew they were going to lose. I really did. Shout out to them for covering, though. Shout out to him for that. That's pretty awesome.
Slipped right under there.
Right
Beautiful.
under there. Backdoored the shit out of it. Love it.
Yep.
But my God, and I'm going to start with you, David. What the fuck? What did we witness from Notre Dame?
I mean, it's what we expected, though. I mean, we all said Notre Dame was going to probably get their ass whooped by Bama, and they got their ass whooped by Bama. So, No shocker, but then you knew what was going to come from that. Is basically were they worthy, right? And to be honest, I say yes. Still, think about it, but it is what it is. I think no matter who's in that 4th seat, they get in the ass whooped by Bama. So, I mean, and then just to talk about some of the other undefeated teams that they were all saying that could be in that 4th seat. Well, they all lost their bowl game, so you could already count them out. They didn't even win their bowl game that they were in, so they weren't going to beat Bama then either. So, just one less thing to talk about in that category.
100%. 100%. I mean,
yeah, Notre Dame. Yeah, what we expected.
Gross. Super gross.
Yeah.
That's my problem. It was just gross. Pete?
Well, I mean, to David's argument too. I mean, no other school should have said that they deserved it over Notre Dame. They would have got their shit stomped by Bama would have kicked their ass. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, A&M's the only team that won their bowl game, and UNC had players out. So just, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And then Oklahoma, they had 2 losses. Looking at Florida here, yeah, okay, well, half their team decided not to play in a bowl game because, they were in the top 4. Good for Florida, whatever. Cincinnati lost to Georgia, and then there was no way I'm putting Georgia in there. And then guess what? Iowa State still stinks. Who would have thought that? So, yeah, I mean, Notre Dame deserved to be there, but, I mean, Bama's just good. I mean, it's Bama. And for them to cover, hold on, this is not a crucial part of the game, but this is what I don't understand what Brian Kelly did at the end. So when they scored that touchdown, before that touchdown, they were down 24. He kicks the extra point, but then decides to go for the onside kick. Wouldn't you want to go for 2 and make it a 3-score game or make it a 2-score game after that if you were going to do the onside kick? That part makes no sense to me. So that's just a little tidbit that I got pissed off at the end for. I was like, what are we doing here? So we're going to kick the extra point, but then we're going to go onside kick. That makes no sense.
Irish way, baby. Irish way.
No sense.
Pete's I know we're getting our shit stopped, but for the love of God, go out with some dignity.
Didn't make any sense because I think the spread was at 19.5. So
Sure
even if they don't get the 2-point conversion, they still cover. Doesn't make any sense. So you can't even say he was gambling on the game.
No, but thank God.
Doesn't make any sense.
Thank God they covered. That's the only bet I placed on that game was I think they'll cover the 19.5. And boy, not only was I angry about Notre Dame, but I was sweating. Just absolutely sweating. BK, your thoughts on Notre Dame just getting their shit plowed by Bama?
Much of what David said. Just kind of, this is what we expected to happen, and it happened. I wasn't shocked. I think I started watching something else halfway through because I was like, all right, this isn't a football game. I started watching Star Wars. That's what I started doing. I started watching the original trilogy because I was like, all right, I'm going to throw this on the computer, and then I'm going to watch Star Wars on the TV. And Star Wars is great.
Oh, 100%.
So, I haven't been let down by the original trilogy.
I will tell you, I would probably have still chosen, I would have watched the prequels before I would have watched this game in its entirety. That's how bad it was.
Well, I mean, the game was over when Harris jumped over the safety, and literally the safety didn't touch him. Yeah. That's when the game was over. They should have just wrapped it up, said, hey, thanks for coming, get the out of here. That's what they should have done. Because that was, I mean, how do you get a guy jump over you and you didn't even touch him? He literally jumps over you. Oh, God. Just get off the field.
Watching Star Wars is after that. I think I texted in our little group chat, and that's why I was like, yep, I'm putting on Star Wars. That was it.
It's over.
Respect. I would have, I almost probably would have watched Wonder Woman 84 instead of that. It would have been close. It would have been really close, but it was not very good. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, this late game, this is going to be good. I can't wait. Clemson's going to win, but that's all right. They're winning for America. That's right. No, sir. Justin Fields decides, you know what? Everybody talks shit about me sucking against Northwestern, so I'm going to ball out real quick against Clemson. And now the talks begin. Is Justin Fields going to get drafted ahead of Trevor Lawrence? Blah, 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 blah. Fuck Ohio State, but they beat Clemson. BK, I'll start with you here. Your thoughts on OSU beating up on Clemson?
quick shout out to my buddy Nick Temechko, who went to the Ohio State University. He's a big fan, obviously. So congratulations to him and those players and coaches, I guess. But that really stunk. I forget when I started watching Star Wars when I was watching this game because I was just like, ah, damn it, go back to Star Wars. uh, Congrats to Justin Fields for really tearing it up. He's not going to surpass Trevor Lawrence in the draft rankings. He's cemented himself as number 2 now, undoubtedly, because before there, he had dropped off, and I think Zach Wilson had overtaken him. Zach Wilson had just played consistently well, hadn't really let you down, and just has awful skill position players around him, and was still just playing great. Fields kind of lumbering through the season, but man, he turned it on at the perfect time, like, in kind of prime time there against Clemson, a very good defense, even if they are missing quite a few guys. They were missing, 4 or 5 starters, I think. It's still really impressive because Clemson has a lot of depth, so I think he's cemented as the number 2 QB drafted. Just, he's not surpassing Trevor Lawrence. Like, Trevor Lawrence just got second in Heisman voting, so, like, nah, sorry, fam. Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is a stud. Regardless, will be a stud. David, your thoughts on OSU pumping one on Clemson?
It definitely wasn't expected. I thought we would have a decent game, but I didn't expect that outcome. I definitely thought Clemson would eventually win. I was expecting another Clemson-Bama title matchup. Yeah, like Fields go off, and you're saying that maybe a draft value increased. Sure. If someone wants to draft an Ohio State quarterback and take that risk, be my guest. I sure ain't touching an Ohio State quarterback. None of them has ever really proven out to be that great. So they want to take that risk, sure. And then are you saying that is number 2, or potentially, yeah, because the Jets would, if they want to move on, they would be number 2 pick. Do you do that? And if that's what they want to do, sure. So, I mean, I guess you got to take a risk when it comes to drafting quarterbacks. Knowing us, the Bears would probably trade the draft stock for them, and then, the Bears the way. But definitely wasn't expecting Clemson to get routed like that.
No.
That's for sure.
No way. I really thought, even watching the game, I was like, oh, okay. I saw the hit on Justin Fields, and he looked rough, and I was like, oh, okay, he's limping all. My God, he's like over there wincing and swearing up a storm on the sidelines. I'm like, man, he's hurt. He couldn't throw. I was like, oh, he's not gonna be able to throw. No, it was cool. It was cool. Still able to torch him. Damn. So we're gonna see there. But Pete, I guess your thoughts here on Ohio State beating up on Clemson.
Yeah, I give mad respect to Ohio State. I mean, it was a lot of bulletin board material going into this game, especially Dabo putting them at number 11.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty stupid on his part, since he can't play in the game. So pretty dumb. So honestly, as much as I don't like Ohio State, and as much as I've talked about how much I don't like Ohio State in this game, or basically ever, I'm kind of glad they won because it kind of shut up Clemson. It kind of put them down. Hey, like you're not going to be in the title game every year. Okay, so it was kind of cool from that perspective. And honestly, I give mad respect to Fields for playing that game. You could tell he must have like broken ribs or something. Yeah. Like that hit that he took. I mean, his body's going one way and the other way. I mean, that was a tough play. And then for him to basically be out one play and then come back in and throw a dart on the sidelines, that was respect. Mm-hmm. And I mean, to David's point with, I mean, obviously Ohio State quarterbacks the last couple of years have not done well. I think it more just goes to the simple fact of like, which school out there is the best for quarterbacks? Because there really isn't one. It all comes down to what's the makeup of the quarterback. And I know that we love Trevor Lawrence. We think Trevor's going to be great. The thing is, especially where he's going to go, more likely than not Jacksonville, there's going to be a lot of failure there. Trevor's never dealt with that in his career. So I'm worried about his psyche. The thing I wasn't worried about with Joe Burrow when he went to Cincinnati, like he had to transfer and he had to deal with adversity. I'm worried a little bit about that with Trevor Lawrence. Yes, he has all the physical tools. Yes, he can literally do anything on a football field, but it's going to be mental for him. So, I mean, am I saying that Justin Fields is going to be better than him? No, I'm not saying that. But I think the whole, like, wherever you went to school, because, I mean, I just don't know about that because I mean, wasn't that a knock going on for Herbert too? Is he went to Oregon?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's look at Patrick Mahomes when he went to Texas Tech. It was this air raid. Oh, they can't play in the pros. I mean, look what Mahomes is doing. So it's so tough to evaluate quarterbacks now. But if you're the Jets, it's going to be a tough option right there. Because how much do you like Fields? But he was impressive. I don't know how he's going to do against Bama, but this isn't your same Bama defense though. If Notre Dame doesn't turn the ball over, I mean, I think that's a little bit closer of a game, but I'm very intrigued to see how Ohio State's defense does against Bama. I know we'll get into it, but I'm just intrigued because Bama's offense to me it's vanilla. It is a vanilla offense. It's just they have weapons.
Yeah, and also if
We've
we're
always had a vanilla offense.
That's basically Alabama's strategy.
I mean, it's like a wide
101
receiver
for the last
screen. That's like all they do is a wide receiver screen to slant. That's what they do. And a little crossing pattern.
Sarkisian.
And then you do one deep pass, and then you usually hit because the corner got burnt.
Yeah.
So that's their playbook in a nutshell.
And
Hasn't changed in a
Sarkisian.
decade, but no one could stop it. So
True. Is Sarkisian even is he going to be coaching in the game, the national championship, or is he moving on to his next gig?
I think he's coaching. I think the plan is for him to coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
That does affect things.
It does. It sure does. Well, since we know the game's next the game's Monday, right?
Yeah.
BK, who wins? Not America, I know that.
Damn.
yeah, I think either person.
Especially if wide receiver Jalen Waddle comes back, who Saban says he's been cleared to practice this week. So if Jalen Waddle comes back for Bama, they're gonna have him opposite of Heisman Trophy winning wide receiver Devonta Smith, who was announced as the third wide receiver ever to win the Heisman Trophy earlier tonight. For people, just in case they didn't see that, like I said, if Waddle comes back, I just blah. It's blah.
He said, blah, I don't know. Blah. Oh, shit. David, do you have a prediction? Who wins?
I'm gonna go with Bama. I don't really want Bama to win, but I don't want neither to win. So
Nobody wins.
it's just a tie. There you go. I both get to share. This
For
started
6 hours and just
We're
give
doing
up.
2021 as everyone gets a participation trophy. Thank you for participating in the college football playoffs. Thank you. It's probably good. It's probably gonna be Bama, and that's probably how it's gonna. I think it'd be a good game if Ohio State comes out like how they played against Clemson. Then it should be a good game, but they're still probably gonna lose. It probably could come down to maybe like the last 2 drives to determine that game potentially. But if Ohio State comes out like they played against Northwestern, then this shit's fucking over halftime. So they definitely have to be ready to play. They can't come out like they did against Northwestern.
100%. Pete?
Well, I mean, unlike Northwestern, they had 23 players out. So as long as there aren't 23 players out, they probably should play a little bit better than they did against Northwestern.
Well, it is Ohio, so you never know. They may get COVID, and they may bitch about that now.
It's true.
Yeah, well, hey,
True.
the COVID's only in Cleveland. So that's like an hour and a half away. So as long as they're not traveling up north here, they should be fine. So, no, you know what? I'm just going to be weird. I feel dirty saying this. I think I'm going to say Ohio State's going to win this. I think Ohio State's going to win it. Ohio State only wins national championships when they're the underdog. That's just what they do. They come up and they win it as an underdog, and it's so annoying. But they do well when their back's up against the wall.
True.
I just want to see Mac Jones play in a pressure situation. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I just want to see it. That's all I want to see because I think Ohio State's athletes can match Bama. And if they can control the clock with Trey Sermon, if he can control the clock, that's going to be massive, I think, in that game. But I'm just going to go Ohio State just because, it's 2020, 2021. Ohio State, let's see, is going to win the national championship with an 8-0 record. And, just make it weird.
Weird.
I'm going to go Ohio State in this game. I feel awful saying it because, obviously none of us want any of these teams to win, so I hope both teams can't play. They don't get awarded a trophy,
Cancel
whatever.
it.
cancel it. Just cancel it. Player safety.
Players say that's right.
20 participation trophy for this college football.
That's right. That's what Notre Dame got. That's for sure. And Clemson apparently.
No, they don't get theirs.
Oh, yeah, they've won, but fuck them. You don't get one.
You don't get it.
I mean,
participate in the bowl game in order to get one. You know what I mean? At least for Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, Notre Dame. You just had to show up, and you get one. I think this is gonna be tough. I think that it could be weird. Ohio State might pick up this one. They honestly, I don't know how banged up Justin Fields is after that game. We'll see. Devonta Smith, though, has been just an absolute freak. It's like BK mentioned, he won the Heisman. Very deserving. So just an absolute great year. If you get Jalen Waddle back, how healthy is he? Are we going to see some just absolute ridiculous shit? Najee Harris, stud, future Steeler. That's going to be really cool. Woo. But I do believe Bama picks this one up. I hope it's a really good game. I hope it's exciting for at least our, sakes. That's all. Even though I don't want either team to win, just like the rest of us don't. But I do hope it's at least a fun game. So I'm going to go Bama, but I think it's going to be close. So, man, it's going to be gross. Pete, thanks for doing the dirty job, because if you didn't pick Ohio State, I probably would have. I probably would have just been different. You know what I mean?
It's probably just because it's just close here. I can just feel the gross scarlet and gray. It's just it's probably my brain. So probably my brain.
It's parasitic.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, if it's in his brain, he may want to go get tested. He may have the vid.
Oh no! Yeah, it's gonna go way up the nose, boy.
Yeah.
Don't let Dan lie to you either and tell you the test is okay.
It's a taste and smell.
You got that buck? Yeah, I can still taste that beer, so we're good.
Oh, then we're good. We're good, bud. Just to wrap up college scene, college basketball announced that their entirety of March Madness tournament will be played in the state of Indiana. I'm not apologizing to the state of Indiana for my thoughts. They know how I feel. Indianapolis, you're pretty cool. The rest of you, whatever. It is what it is. The rest of you, and shout out to anybody listening though from Indiana. Shout out to you. Thanks, appreciate it. But I don't like your state. Selection Sunday is still scheduled for March 14th, and the Final Four will be held April 3rd and April 5th. That's my birthday at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Most of the games are going to be played in Indianapolis at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Hinkle Fieldhouse, and Indiana Farmers Coliseum. Mackey Arena in West Lafayette and Assembly Hall in Bloomington are also going to be used. Listen, this makes the most sense for the NCAA tournament to really put it all in one spot and be able to, hopefully condense it so you're not going to get a bunch of COVID cases hopefully popping up. So I'll start with you, Pete, as someone that used to live in Indianapolis, right? Are you?
Oh yeah.
What do you think on this decision to be fully embraced into the state of Indiana?
I'm not really that surprised, especially with the headquarters NCAA just being right down the road. So I'm not too shocked by it. I know there's reports like a few months ago about this possibly being like the NCAA's bubble situation, just because college basketball is like king in the state of Indiana. So I mean, they do have the facilities. And Indianapolis, obviously, they've hosted Super Bowl before, so it's like they have the capabilities, the hotels, they can do it. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. It's a unique idea. Obviously, this is a huge win for Indiana, specifically Indianapolis. So, I mean, props to them. The rest of the state, still not a fan of, but Indianapolis, I mean, it's a great area. Good for them. Good for them.
Good for them. BK tournament in Indiana. You cool?
I was a big pro kind of bubble guy for the NBA and the NHL when they did that, and this is essentially a way for them to kind of do a bubble-like situation. So it makes a lot of sense to prevent the spread of COVID. And hey, we're gonna get March Madness, so that is exciting. We're gonna get something because we didn't get shit last year. So that's the good news. I am excited about that.
Broke my heart. Absolutely broke my heart. Man, that was when I was like, wow, COVID's gone too far. And right off the bat, I was like, come on, man. It's March Madness. This is all I look forward to. I mean, the rest of the sport's getting fucked up. I didn't care. But that bugged me very, very much so. So yeah, them being able to condense it into a bubble-esque situation is definitely for the better. David, you cool with it working in the state of Indiana, but mostly in Indianapolis?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, obviously, got to find a host city, to host it, and you can't pick some of the other major cities that potentially are busy during that time. The only thing that Indianapolis will have to worry about is obviously the Pacers would be the only team that would be active during that time frame. Um, Other than that, they don't have to really worry too much about hockey team or another basketball team. So I guess it works out great for their area, and potentially even baseball. There's no baseball there neither, but we don't even know what's happening there. Yeah, they definitely have the hotels and space, and then like Pete mentioned, you only need enough hotels for like what, the first night or the first day or so, and then half the team or they're already eliminated, right? So then it frees up more space. But then again, you don't want teams to go to that hotel after another team just left. Potentially, you don't want to cause any spread. So, kind of be curious, like, what are the rules around that? Like, someone gets COVID, do they stop a team from playing and then delay it? Because then if you delay one game, that basically fucks up the whole tournament.
Right.
Because you know how they play, like, I think if you play Thursday, then you play again Saturday, then you have that week break. So, be kind of curious, like, what are the rules around that? And hopefully that it doesn't come to that. But during the times we live in, we kind of have to think about that.
100%. That is true. I mean, I know they're gonna be staying at, most of the players are gonna be staying at the convention center. So we will see how that goes moving forward. Before we get into the NFL talk, I noticed it. Yes, we do have a new merch store, which if you're listening on your podcast platform, that link is down below in the description. It says merch. If you're watching live, it's teespring.com/store/AMNation- Undead Red Bull, or just look on the Twitter page at AMNationPod, and you'll find it there as well. BK rocking the coffee cup. I'm excited to pick mine up.
It's two-sided, everyone. So you got Amalgamation Nation on that side, and then you flip it around.
And
You
there's
got
Undead
David's
Rebel.
Twitch channel. Yeah.
And then look at David's got the
Nice.
pillow. He's got the pillow. There it is.
Double-sided as well.
Boom. Boom. And also,
Shirts
brand.
just shipped today, I think. So they should be here soon, hopefully.
You have to let me know how they are, because I got my Stay Breezy shirt from Streamlabs the other day, and that's pretty nice too. So I'm super excited about that. Stay Breezy, it's a way of life, forever will be. That's the thing too. 2021 goal. I am getting Stay Breezy tatted. There's no doubt in my mind. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm fucking hyped. I'm ready for it.
Well, to answer the chat, there is a black mug, but it looks kind of dumb.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing with the mug is,
I can actually go get it. It has like a white. I'll go get it.
oh, okay. There you go. But I'll keep yapping my gums off. The thing with the mugs are, if you can go, they pick a bunch of different colors, like gray, black, white, red. I mean, there's other ones too, but I'm colorblind. I couldn't tell you anyway. But the problem is the mug, like the white handle stays white. So it's just kind of weird that they didn't just wrap the color all the way around. I don't know the logistics behind that, but that's the only part that it was kind of weird. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty sweet. Oh, Stay Breezy. No, Elaine, I won't get Stay Breezy tatted on my face. I can't. Even though I was taking a picture with the Snapchat filter that gave me face tats, and I'm like, man, I'm kind of hot. That was kind of cool. I look like Post Malone. Kind of into it, but no. Okay, there's the black mug. There it is. Look at that.
And then you'll see what he's talking about. This little gap right here.
You know, but now that I'm
white.
actually looking at it in person like that, it doesn't really bother
Not that
me.
bad, but it looks okay.
But on the
I would
website,
assume like if you said like any other colors, it would be like this.
yes,
It would still have the white part right there.
yes. It honestly would. I thought, because when you look at the picture on the website, like it bugs the shit out of me. It really does.
It does if you look on the website, but I guess when you have it,
It's not
it
so
doesn't look
bad.
that bad.
Yeah, I mean, my hands
It looks a
hold-
lot better in person compared to the website.
Yes, indeed. And yes, Frank, I
So
am.
that's why I wear white.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, Frank, I am colorblind. I still see colors though. I'm not like, it's not gray. Not like I'm black and white, and I can only see in that, but I can still see some. I still see some colors. All right, let's get into the NFL. So this is the final weekend. Some teams tried, others didn't. We're gonna get into that. But let's start with the Buffalo Bills. Played their stars, at least for a little bit, and they crushed the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins were without their closer, Mr. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Tua got just roughed up really bad. But the Bills look really scary heading into the playoffs. Pete, where are you at here on with? Well, I guess first the Dolphins' first year with Tua. Where would you look at that?
I mean, I feel like it's still a huge question mark, especially with how bad Houston played with him in the like. I don't know. I mean, one of those quarterbacks that we talked about, like Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, one of those guys is going to be available. So, yeah. I mean, if you can't keep, I mean, this isn't like a baseball game. You don't have relievers come in. Like, there's no, like, you can't just do this to Tua, like, all the time and have Fitzpatrick just bail him out. Like, this can't happen. So you got to figure it out. And especially with Herbert, the way he's looked with the Chargers, like, there's even more pressure on Tua to perform. And I don't know, maybe Tua wasn't 100%. Maybe that was it after the hip injury. I mean, as gruesome as it was, maybe next offseason he looks a lot better, but they're going to have questions here moving forward, especially at that third spot. With this is a playoff caliber team. They already have. So, a lot of question marks.
Yeah, that's a good point. BK, where are you at on the Bills?
The Bills are really good at football, and this guy from Wyoming, Josh Allen's a pretty darn good quarterback there. The best one they had since Kelly. I'm high on the Bills, which we'll get into later going into the playoffs, but they touched it up. And shout out to Isaiah McKenzie there with the 3 touchdowns, the 1 return and the 2 receiving. Great game for him. Also, what a great trade it was this offseason for Stephon Diggs.
Yes.
What a fantastic trade. They got the bona fide. Yeah, both teams made it out very well, but the Bills definitely have to be happy with the immediate return that they get from Diggs. And then a quick thing about Miami, they do have the 3rd overall pick in this draft, and they finished the year 10-6. So they're gonna have 2 first-round draft picks. I think they're gonna be fine going forward. They're gonna be just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think what you saw. It's so funny. So when we talk about me and quarterbacks that I like and stuff like that, I see. It's only when I'm vocal about it, because like Josh Allen, I told my dad a couple of years ago, I was like, hey man, you got to draft Josh Allen. I think he's gonna be really good for fantasy. And he's like, yeah, all right. And then he did. And I told him like to keep him. He's like, all right. And then like later in the year, he had a really good year, and he was like, wow, all right, you're right. I'll give it to you. See, I keep it under wraps. I don't talk about it as much. They turn out just fine. Okay,
Ryan, don't say anything about Josh Allen. Like, for the love of God, he's killing it right now. Just stop talking him up right now. Just stop it.
I'll let it go.
For
Aaron Rodgers, though, man. Aaron Rodgers, great quarterback. He's gonna do great.
That doesn't affect him.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
That doesn't affect.
He's a different breed.
Nothing gets in here. No, steel trap.
He's a different breed.
Ryan, you need to be all up on Rodgers' dick next year in the draft.
It's so funny though.
He's gonna suck.
What's so funny is I always am. Like I honestly really think obviously
you never draft him.
I try. Yeah. And some other asshole takes him. Like it's my brother Tim. Tim always grabs Aaron Rodgers. Pisses me off. David, Bills and Dolphins. The Dolphins missed the playoffs though. But moving forward, where do you think the Dolphins are at?
I think we kind of touched base on it, right? Because we don't really know what their quarterback situation is, right? Kind of keep playing them, and then you're like, you know what? I got to put Fitzmagic in, finish a game off to win and still have a chance for the playoffs. Which, you know what? They probably would have did again last week if he wasn't on the COVID. 100% probably would have came in that game to try to help win them again, which is mind-blowing that they keep doing that. So now you go forward with the quarterback. I think they still keep the quarterback that they have. I don't think they're going to use one of their draft picks or quarterback. The only way they do is if their actual first round draft pick and someone's handed to them, like Fields drops that far, which I highly doubt. But just hypothetical, if that was to happen, then you know what? Maybe you think about it. But the real question is, what do they do with that 3rd round pick, right? That's really where it comes in. Do they even trade back to get more picks, even help them out? Because I think they need offensive line help. But then that Heisman Trophy winner looks pretty good. Have a nice Heisman wide receiver. on your team.
Yes.
To help out a young rookie quarterback.
Bring back Tua's boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, that may be the ideal slot. If he may be there at 3. Usually wide receivers don't go that high. Especially with the Jets needing so many needs, I don't think see them going to the wide receiver. So,
Boy, that'd be
I think
rough.
that may be the best. That may be the nice pick for them. And then that trade works out great. It already worked out great anyways for them for that value of that first round pick from Houston. So I don't. No wonder why that coach was fired.
Yeah, there you go. In case anyone wondered why BK hated Bill O'Brien so much, there it is. Awful.
Like wow. But
BK was right.
but yeah, the better team won. I knew Buffalo was going to play. That's why I picked Buffalo to win last week. Just for the simple fact that they want that second seat secured and not travel to Pittsburgh, potentially. So, and they just showed that they were the better team. Sucks that it knocked out Miami because I don't really think the Colts are better, but it is what it is.
That's right.
So,
Boo Phillip Rivers. Boo that man.
but I think Miami's still on the up and up on their end. But they're going to have to basically probably battle Buffalo for the next probably 5 years for that division.
100%. I mean, listen, in New England, we saw it. They're on their way down. You know, I don't know what they're going to do there. The Jets, well, they're just disorganized. They did fire Adam Gase finally, thank God. So we'll see what happens there. And I just think, like you said, Dolphins, having that third pick is so interesting. Do I think they draft a quarterback? No. I mean, I think they're going to try and stick with Tua. But, you know, do you go Devonta Smith? Do you go Jamar Chase? You know, you definitely need receiver help. I think you need another one, and both of those guys would be great fits for them. So we'll see what the Dolphins do move forward. And like everyone said, yeah, the Bills are pretty good. So we'll get in that into our playoff picks, but they're pretty good. The Ravens crush the Bengals. They're on a roll. Big Cam, I'm gonna let you handle this one because I know we're gonna talk the Ravens against Tennessee in the first round. We get there. So first and foremost, where are you at now? I see your Ravens shirt on. You're ready. Are you feeling good this time around? Because you were feeling very bad for a while.
Yeah. The team wasn't playing. They seemed to not be getting better. Ever since Lamar Jackson's come back from the positive COVID test, he's looked pretty good. He's getting better. A little bit passing wise, he still misses. He has the ability, even if he misses like the first read on a guy, if he's open, he has the athletic ability to kind of extend the play, and so then he kind of almost get away with missing the guy when he's initially open, hit him when he breaks back, like he has been doing to Des Bryant when he had consecutive games with a touchdown catch. But the big thing is they're running the ball again. They had 404 rushing yards against the Bengals. Yes, it's the Bengals, but still.
Impressive.
Yes. Mark Ingram, it hasn't even really been him. It's been the J.K. Dobbins show from the already aforementioned the Ohio State University. And then Gus Edwards, the Gus bus, baby. Just a guy who just runs up the middle and then maybe makes a move. It's just, he's an old school football player. He's fun to watch. The defense is kind of coming around for the Ravens. They sat a bunch of guys, and I think they sat a few guys on the D-line on purpose just to make sure they were healthy going into the playoffs. And I am a little worried about the injuries in the secondary, but hopefully, I mean, Marcus Peters was hurt, but then he came back, got a pick last week. So it's the secondary. It looks like it could be getting healthy at the perfect time. But even when the Ravens played the Titans last year and got absolutely spanked, embarrassed, annihilated, it wasn't because of the secondary. It was because of the front five. But we'll get into that later. I'm feeling good about the Ravens. I just got Ruby. You can actually see her just over my shoulder there, our Chesapeake Bay Retriever. I got her a Ravens jersey. It should be here Thursday. And then I got one of our cats, a Ravens bandana. No, my French Bulldog already has a Ravens shirt. So it was ready for Sunday. We'll take a nice family photo. We'll put it on Twitter and Instagram and everything like that. So yeah, I'm excited. Many times. And
Ravens flock, bro. They flock. I get it.
That's adorable.
It is.
That's adorable.
That's pretty cute.
The Kennerleys, man. The Kennerleys.
I'll tell you, if Duke's wearing some type of bear shit, I'm gonna be pissed. Don't ever. Not until we're good.
Someone donates it.
Well, yeah.
Buys it? Sure.
Yeah. Don't buy it yourself. Don't do that. I don't want that. Mm-mm.
Well, I can just cut up my Trubisky jersey and put it around him, right?
Hey, it's too premature. Let's not do that yet. It's too premature. Let's talk about the Browns and Steelers, though. So the Browns, they make the playoff for the first time since 2002. Cleveland goes insane. That's why they pick up a bunch of COVID in the process. They almost lost. True? They almost lost to Mason Rudolph and those Steelers, though. Talked about it on Natty Nights, what the Steelers would do, right? Are the Steelers going to sit somebody? Are they not? My intent thing was, listen, I understand, like, I'm all for wanting to knock your division opponent out. I mean, that's what football, that's what you got to do. However, I also understood the Steelers haven't had a bye since week 4. And they probably needed it. Ben needed a rest before the playoffs. This is about more than just knocking the Browns out. This is about making sure you can at least could try to make a legit run. Not that I think the Steelers will, but just try. Pete, what was the feeling in Cleveland after finally getting back to the playoffs?
Well, I feel like for the game, it was just nervousness.
Yeah.
You had a couple, of the veterans in Pittsburgh sit out. I mean, it wasn't the whole team that sat out. Yeah. You still had your full group of receivers. Mm-hmm. Minka was out there. So, I mean, Steelers still had some dudes out there. But, no, it was nervousness, especially because, I mean, they've been dealing with COVID for the last, now 2 weeks, really. They didn't have Denzel Ward in that game. They're already thin at corner as it is. So that's, a huge question mark. The other big thing that came out of this, which nobody's talking about, is Olivier Vernon, tore his Achilles. Yes. And that's a huge loss for them because Myles Garrett's basically going to get triple teamed. It's going to be tough for him to try to get after Ben here on Sunday. So, I mean, it was an ugly game. It really was. If you're the Browns, though, you got to feel at least good. I mean, before all this COVID happened here for their coach and everything. But you got to feel pretty good because they didn't really play that great and they still won. I mean, it was ugly, but they still won the game. They got in the playoffs. I mean, this is a success for the Browns. I mean, the success was making the postseason this year. They did that. They got the 10 wins. I mean, they had a really good season. So, props to them. But obviously, COVID's, kind of taking over Cleveland. So, not great.
Stay safe out there, Pete and Molly. Stay safe.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not talking about Olivier Vernon because it hurts my soul. Yeah, Cleveland, man, it's just, now you play the Steelers in week 1. We're going to get, or in the playoffs round 1, we're going to get into that too. But, at the same time, yeah, they made the playoffs. You should be excited about that because we're going to get into the next spot here about the Bears and Packers. And, the Bears just kind of rolled over into a playoff spot. And I think that you should still be excited, obviously, regardless of your team makes the playoff. Right? 18 teams didn't. So there you go. Those 18 teams are sitting at home. So gotta be excited about it. Which let's do that right now. But let's do it. Let's just get this out of the way. The Bears played the Packers again, and I'm gonna say it was better than the first time around. Definitely again though. I kind of get the talk about nervousness with the Cleveland Browns. It was the same thing for at least where I was watching the Bears game because it was just man, we're going to have to rely on whoever the fuck is starting in LA to beat the Cardinals. And then Kyler goes down and I'm like, okay, well, I feel a little bit better, but man, this Rams team can't score. And then they got a couple big defensive plays. And I wasn't even really at one point, I just knew that the Bears were done that. At least their game was done. They were going to lose. So I directed all of my attention to the Rams and the Cardinals. And I was like, please, please, please. And I was like, put in Blake Bortles. Just get it done. Let's bring him in. Bring in the hero. All right? Blake Bortles, fantasy football champion. Pete knows. That's what I'm talking about. Blake Bortles. Woo! That's right. Stud. So.
Time king.
Stud. What a, just an absolute stud. But then, the Bears ended up losing to the Packers. Rams, though, do beat the Cardinals, which means the Bears made the playoffs at the 7th seed. My God. David, first, two things. Your thoughts on what they did against the Packers, not very much, and then the Bears making the playoffs.
So the first one, I expected that outcome for the Packers. I wasn't really high on the Bears because we played nobodies for a couple weeks, and then we're expecting to come in and beat the Packers. No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I would be a realistic. Taking the Bears out of my, fan favorite. I was just going off like, yeah, the Packers are going to beat the Bears. So I picked the Packers to beat the Bears. I expected it. What I didn't expect was the Rams to beat the Cards. But yeah, maybe some of that magic of you saying Murray's going to have a great year helped us because, you kind of jinxed him. So maybe you helped the Bears make the playoffs by jinxing Murray, Arizona's quarterback.
David's on to something. He's on to something.
Saying, I think that's what helped out right there. You jinxed him, and it got us a playoff spot. I don't know why you flipping me off, man. You got the Bears a playoff spot.
I want
proud of that.
Virginia McCaskey on her birthday today to call me and thank me personally.
She's probably in bed, dude, by now.
Yeah, probably.
Say your phone number right now online over Twitter so she can reach out to you.
202.
Luna.
DK's like, what?
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck is that? He heard numbers. He's like, is this motherfucker really giving out his number?
That's concerning.
Well, no, BK, what's more concerning is I haven't lived in Illinois in 9 years, and I know that.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
That's more concerning.
I mean, I probably haven't heard that in about 9 years, so...
Dude, I hear it every day.
You never watched regular TV in a long time.
I hear it every day at work.
With the Bears making the playoff slot, I mean, you got to still be happy that they made a slot, right? Considering how poor our team plays at certain times, which is, I'll take it, right? And to be honest, when we played the Saints, we didn't play horrible against them earlier this year. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if you want to pick if you had to pick one underdog, potentially, it could be the Bears beating the Saints somehow, just because we don't play horrible against the Saints. I don't know why. We don't play horrible against the Saints. We probably won't win, but I'm just saying there's a chance. But that chance only comes into if the defense plays pretty good, which that's basically you got to play Bears football. That's all. That's what it comes down to. Run the ball and your defense is best. That's what it comes down to. But I'll still be happy for it. Our head coach is still fired and our GM is still fired. So yeah.
I do not. From what reports were, Nagy will be retained because he has one more year on his contract. Which, Frank, Bears by 14. I love your spirit. I love your spirit, sir. I love it. I will tell you this: Nagy's gonna stay. Trubisky's gonna stay. Pace, though, I think Duke from On Tap Sports I saw him tweet out that you should move Pace into the president role, right, and kick Ted Phillips out and go get yourself a new GM. And I didn't hate that.
Wait. So we want to give Ryan Pace a promotion. That's your solution to Ryan Pace is to tell him he's been doing well, and we want to give him a promotion.
Well, I want to point out.
Remember, you took your sunglasses off for me saying the Bears could upset the Saints.
Well, I just want to point out.
Gets a promotion.
I want to point out.
Serious?
Because I really want to point out. I don't think Ryan Pace it was awful, like god awful. You know what I mean? I don't.
No.
I don't think he was awful.
It's not good.
He's okay. Hey, man, I'm just saying. If anything weird's going to happen, that's where it's going to go. But Nagy's going to stay. Trubisky's going to stay. And we're probably going to finish 6-10 next year, and that's all right. But my biggest thing...
To do the president.
Yeah, well...
Let's do that.
Yeah, dude, fuck it, dude. I think Jay Cutler should come back and be team president. That is what it is. That's when we had a winning culture,
probably
baby.
Better than Nagy.
Probably, holy fuck.
Better
dude.
than Pace.
Oh, man.
Better than Pace.
Yeah, shit. But I think, the Bears thing, I saw people, having a hard time. That Bears fans were, happy that they made the playoffs, but also pissed off with the performance against the Packers. It's okay to have both of those feelings. It's okay. At the same time, be like, oh, hey, man, at least we made the playoffs. I mean, that's good, right? Especially where things were going when Nick Foles came in, and it spiraled really quickly down, and For them to be able to kind of, I guess, right the ship enough just to get into the playoffs is good. But yeah, you got to be upset with how you played against the Packers. I mean, that's honestly, that's the measuring stick. And when you play that poor against the measuring stick, you need to be upset with yourself. And you need to take a look in the mirror, and hopefully this team makes some type of adjustments. I just don't see where they're going to be. I just don't. And that's right now. Right now, I'm just focused on New Orleans and being happy to be here, and hopefully, the Bears could do something, but I doubt it. BK, as an honorary Bears fan, you now have 2 teams in the playoffs, so kudos to you, sir. Kudos to you. Ravens and Bears. I tell you, one of them.
Jersey in the mail.
Oh,
I'm still waiting.
Oh, I thought you would get yourself one. I didn't know, since you love the Bears so much. I didn't know.
I used my extra money on AM Nation merch. I'm sorry.
Honestly, that was a better choice. The better choice than Bears merch. Better choice. Real quick, Pete. Packers #1 seed. How do you feel?
I mean, Rodgers. I mean, it just you can't fathom how the way he's played this year that they spent a first-round pick on Jordan Love. The way he's played this year. I mean, he had literally a perfect game going, and then MVS drops that ball. I mean, that could have been a rout really from there. I mean, he's on fire right now. So as a Packer fan, I feel good that everything's going to come through Lambeau right now. As I think Rodgers said after the game, I hope it's snowing. I hope it's terrible conditions. I hope it's awful. I hope it's like Tennessee. I hope it's a winter wonderland. When teams come up there. But no, I do feel pretty good. The defense has played a lot better after I've, basically called them multiple times on this podcast. Very soft.
Yes.
And a pillow-like defense. But they have played better. So maybe they're listening to the podcast. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to Mike Pettin.
Yeah.
Maybe on like 3rd and short, maybe we should have our corners a little bit closer and not 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. But what do I know? But no, I feel good about where they're at. The thing I am a little worried about is when the Packers come off a bye, they don't really play well. I mean, it's only a 2-year span with Coach LaFleur, but the last 2 years they have not done well off the bye, so I'm a little concerned with that. But no, I mean, I got to feel pretty good. Everything's coming through Lambeau, so.
Man, How great will it be if the Bears somehow, in some way, beat the New Orleans Saints, and we get Bears versus Packers round 3. So we get to get embarrassed in the playoffs by them too. That would be great. That would just be the cherry on top for me as a Bears fan this season. I will point out, I loved earlier in the game, like the 4th down calls for the Bears, and I was like, oh, I like this. And then they get 4th and 1, they say, but let's operate out of the shotgun. Let's do that. I was like, okay. All right. Never mind. Someone must have given Nagy the play calling again for a play. My bad. Fucking Christ. God, I can't wait to stress out Sunday. Also, shout out to the NFL for putting the only NFC playoff game on Sunday so that Kamara could play. Fuck off. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
Hey, hold on. The most important thing, okay, even more important than the Kamara being able to play on Sunday, is the NFL has the Saints-Bears as the Nickelodeon game.
Hell yeah, we do.
Yep.
So if you get bored watching it on CBS, switch that shit over to Nickelodeon, and it might be a little bit more enjoyable for you guys out there.
Oh, yeah.
So, my God. Also, I think, side note that made me think of it, SpongeBob comes to Madden in 2 days. I don't know what that means, but I know SpongeBob's coming to Madden. Yeah, they've been advertising it all day. I don't know.
SpongeBob with square pants.
Yes, SpongeBob with those square pants. Yes.
Fascinating.
Yes. Are you ready?
I mean, if I could run around with SpongeBob and fucking truck someone, I'm gonna do it.
I'm down. I'm down to do it then. Yeah.
I feel like he's just the tip of the iceberg. I feel like if you do with SpongeBob, you gotta do like Patrick. You gotta do Sandy Squirrel. You gotta do Squidward. You gotta do Mr. Krabs, and then you gotta do Mr. Krabs' daughter, like the giant whale.
Pearl.
There you go. Yeah. You gotta do Plankton, man. All right, you know what?
You can only get one. All right, the rest are DLC contents you have to buy.
Yeah, it's EA. True. Yeah,
like the old game, like you know how they have Super Mario Strikers. If you had Super SpongeBob football, I don't know. Yeah, I mean they have no time to workshop a name. Oh boy, I'll prove it right now.
Oh yeah. So yeah. Oh, great. Bears are going to be on Nickelodeon. Can't wait. In case you don't want to watch, like I said, CBS. There you go. The Colts held on to beat the Jags. I turned around very quickly because I at one point looked at it and I was like, this game's fucking done. And a little bit later, I'm like, oh shit. Colts might lose. And I'm like, man, Jacksonville found out the Jets were gonna lose, and they're already good. They're like, hey, fine, it's fine, let it go. I'm like, oh no. So glad that I guess Colts hang on, knock out the Dolphins. I would have much rather have seen the Dolphins than the Colts because, like I said, I will boo Phillip Rivers till the day I die. I will boo Phillip Rivers. If for some ungodly reason, which he probably will, make the Hall of Fame, I will purposely go just to boo that man, to boo the shit out of him.
Well, his 9 kids will drown you out, so it's okay.
Yeah, well,
by that time,
man.
it'll probably be almost 15 kids. So he's gonna have nothing else to do in the offseason. So,
and I'll say he deserves the Hall of Fame more than Eli Manning.
I'm not gonna get into that in this show.
True.
Not gonna do that.
Yeah,
that's a good take.
Yeah,
good take, BK.
If I wasn't an hour and 25
in, it would
in,
be Tom Brady twice though.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you, way to not win with LaDainian Tomlinson, guys. Anyways. The Titans squeak by the Texans.
Schottenheimer thing.
It's true. The Texans blew another game, which, again, it's just sad for JJ. It's sad for Sean. But Bill O'Brien's gone. Let's see what the Texans do moving forward. You have really good pieces, man. He's got to make it to the Hall of Fame to pay for child support. You don't got to pay child support if he stays married to her. He'll be all right. Damn. With the Texans, I think that's it's at least when you look at it, having Deshaun Watson and having the great year that he had, because he had a really damn good year with not a lot around him, and that's at least a bright spot moving forward. Which, let's do this here. Which head coach opening is the best? Right, we talked about the Texans, the Chargers, the Jags, the Jets, the Lions, or the Falcons. Pete, I'm going to start with you.
I think to jump off, I would say Chargers, Jags. Chargers, I would say, they have Herbert, so you already have your young quarterback. And you've got a good defensive line. So that's kind of a quick, can turn it around thing there with the Chargers. And then but the only thing that's a negative for the Chargers is you have to deal with Patrick Mahomes for the next 10 years. So that's the downside to that job. The Jags one, I would say, more likely than not, you're going to get Trevor Lawrence. And they have so much money in free agency. And I think there's going to be so many teams that are going to be dumping players that the Jags are going to be like, all right, come on down to Jacksonville, play with Trevor Lawrence. Let's do it. So I think those two kind of jump off the page there to me. And also AFC South, not as tough of a division. Because, I know how much you love your boy, Phillip Rivers, Ryan, but who knows how many more years he's going to play with the Colts. So then the Colts are going to have a quarterback situation. And with Tennessee, Tennessee's defense still isn't great. Derrick Henry's obviously phenomenal. But that division at least is up for grabs a little bit more than that Chargers one. But the rest of them, we could probably all agree the Lions is probably the worst one. Let's just be honest. God.
I think the Jets would be.
I would take the Jets.
Lions.
Yeah, I would take the Jets over them, only because you have the second pick. Sam Darnold, at least at times, look like if you get the right offense around him, it'll at least be all right. Whereas Detroit, you're gonna have a problem here with Stafford, right? You gotta decide whether you're gonna get rid of Stafford, which you're probably gonna have to. You haven't been able to develop a running game for God knows how long. The state sucks. The city sucks. Well, no, Michigan's all right. I'm sorry. The city sucks. I got Indiana and Michigan confused. Sorry, everybody. The state's really cool, but the city fucking blows. Fuck them.
No, that's why I think Detroit's definitely the worst one. I think of all of them. It's open right now.
But also what's interesting with that is, too, when you brought up the playoff thing and the division being open, kind of sucks really for both of them, right? Because if you look at Detroit, you got Rodgers and the Packers, how long that continues to roll. But they also have the Vikings with a really young, fun offense with Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. Though that's a little bit tougher, I think, for them to turn around. I'm not even going to mention the Bears could fuck them, but, that's not great. And then the Jets, David touched upon earlier, Bills and Dolphins are going to be competing for that for a while. So now where's it go? So that's going to be tough. David, what are your best openings, though? Do you agree that it's probably the Chargers and the Jags?
I'm going to say it's the Chargers and the Texans.
Okay.
Obviously, the Texans still have the passing leader right there, right? And So you have your quarterback. You have a running back. You obviously going to keep David Johnson. He didn't when he played. He wasn't bad.
Wasn't too
The reason
bad.
why he missed some games was because of COVID. So you can't really expect that again next year. Hopefully. So he did pretty well. Obviously, he's not a Hopkins worthy trade, but he's still a decent running back to compete. And then Cooks, I mean, he's a decent wide receiver. I don't think he's a one. But he showed up like if he was a one last week. So they still definitely have a nice core for that offense. To where you could definitely build around. You kind of just need to boost up that defense a little bit. And like you said, that division has pretty much almost always been wide open, right? They were the division champs last year, and then all the Texans are this year, and then I think the Colts will probably drop off because they're going to have that quarterback situation probably maybe next year, if not the year prior or after. And the Texans or the Titans are still going to be competing as long as they have Henry. You know, they're just going to keep running the ball. Tannehill hasn't been horrible. He's been pretty fucking good. So we're going to have to compete with that. And then I think the Chargers are great. If the Chargers could have had their defense that they had last year, they're probably maybe a wild card team because their quarterback, that's what their issue was, right? Rivers was throwing interceptions and not providing so much on offense. And Herbert basically came in and one-upped Rivers right now this year. That offense kept moving. They kept scoring. The issue was the defense couldn't stop anything, so they just had to keep scoring. So if they could fix that defensive issues, it probably works out great, which is kind of odd because I believe their head coach is a defensive-minded coach. So
that's why he's gone.
Well, no, Anthony Lynn just does terrible clock management, and that's why the Chargers stink.
Yeah,
because he's just a terrible coach. That's why they already started off the offseason correct.
Yes.
Get rid of Anthony Lynn.
100%.
But I think that they're up there because like they already have their offense foundation is basically set, kind of like how the Texans is. The Texans maybe well they'll get Fuller back from his steroid use, but yeah, I would say the Chargers and Texans will have a decent offensive front for them to build around, and it's really more focused on defense. But like you said, when you have to compete with Patrick Mahomes, you're gonna need to focus a lot on defense.
Yeah.
So especially with their weapons, you'll be competing with them for the next 10 years. But at least if Herbert is as good as he's been, at least you have a quarterback to try to compete with for the next 10 years with him. As long as you keep the weapons. And then of course you can't throw out the Jacksonville Jags because they have the first round pick. They're probably potentially going to have Trevor Lawrence then. But that is like if you wanted to be a head coach and come into an open situation with basically a clean slate, it's the
best clean slate you could have.
Basically, you build your team, and that's how it's going to be. And if the team is horrible in 2-3 years, it's because you suck. That's basically what it comes down to. So it's just from that, instead of working around pieces, you're working with what you want. Well, that may be why people would prefer to go to Jacksonville first.
Mm-hmm. I agree. BK, your teams to look out for, or for coaching wise, what do you think are the best spots?
I really like the Chargers, also because they're in a brand new stadium. So I'm assuming it'd be easier to fill it up once fans kind of are allowed to come back. They're glad to be out of that wreck of a stadium, Qualcomm or whatever the fuck it was called. It was falling apart. And Herbert, a lot of good D-line, and then the wide receivers. You got Allen, you got Hunter Henry. If Mike Williams continues putting it together and can stay healthy enough, he's had some flashes like them. And the same reasons we said for the Jaguars, they have a lot of weapons there. So honestly, like it's just kind of more or less like not screw up if you're a quarterback, which I think Lawrence should be able to do. I also like the Texans just because you have Deshaun Watson, who absolutely crushed it this year, essentially without a freaking coach. Yeah. Like, led the league in passing. And what weapons does Deshaun Watson have outside of Fuller? And I don't even consider Fuller number one, just to be completely honest.
No. Yeah. He's not.
Like,
no.
Right. Deshaun Watson, and as Pete and I have done on this podcast a few times, we are big fans of Deshaun Watson. And so I would go to the Texans just for that situation. The one caveat is to where I would almost want to know who is going to be the GM.
Yes.
Or are they going to do what they did with Bill Ryan, where he gets GM duties again, where he's essentially doing both, which I think is just stupid. You
shout
need
out
to have
to-
two separate people.
Yeah.
That you need to have two people that kind of work in tandem but still challenge each other. In my opinion, I don't like the Jets. I like Sam Darnold, and I think they should trade back. Because if we've learned anything from Adam Gase, he's a horrible head coach. His record in the NFL as a head coach, 32-48. It's a 400 winning percentage.
Yeah.
Better than Mr. 8-8, Mr. 7-9 himself, Jeff fucking Fisher, who went 173 and 165, actually has over 500 winning percentage. Jeff Fisher. Adam Gase has a worse coaching win-loss. It's insane. So, and we've seen it too. Ryan Tannehill has looked like a completely different quarterback.
Yeah.
Completely different quarterback. Yes, it does help that there's Derrick Henry and decent weapons, but like, he looks so good, and he's happy. He looks comfortable, and so I think that's been the downfall of Sam Darnold. So trade back. You have so many needs. Trade back, and they have a lot of dead weight, like cap money wise. Like I'm pretty sure. I think they're going to be paying Le'Veon Bell for another season or two. C.J. Mosley, who opted out, didn't even play. Yeah. Just had to trade Leonard Williams, who was their first round draft pick from 3-4 years ago, who's doing very well with the Giants. Like, that hurts your feelings. Quentin Richardson, didn't he get arrested recently for bringing a gun into an airport or something?
Think so.
I don't want to go to the Jets. And then Lions with the whole Stafford thing, that's a sketch been good. And then also just, I feel like that franchise is kind of cursed. And until you kind of see that franchise trending in the right direction, like draft picks wise, then I think you go there as like a coach. I think that's where Stefanski has done so well in Cleveland, is that Cleveland had good years of drafting. No one can deny that. They actually had good years where it's like, all right, they're not screwing this up. They're not drafting this random, like they're drafting the right guys. And you want to go in a couple years after they draft those right guys, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The Falcons, it's a lot of money committed to older players. And that defense is so bad. Yeah. But that division is going to be absolutely wide open. Absolutely wide open, especially after Drew Brees leaves the Saints. Carolina Panthers are still kind of in a rebuild. They did look impressive. I mean, Matt Rules looks like he's a good head football coach. But they're still kind of rebuilding. They're still retooling. So they got a couple years. So that's an interesting one. But my top Texans, Jaguars, and Chargers, and I almost just lead the Texans, like I said, because Deshaun Watson. I'm a believer in his talent, and since the NFL has skewed the rules here the past decade, maybe 2 decades, for everything to be hyper focused on the QB, then yeah, you go Texans. You go where the entrenched QB is, where he's solid.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think Texans are a great spot. I look towards the Chargers also because of the Chargers, like everything said. Justin Herbert. I mean, dude, no one, the guy no one expected it to be. I don't think expected Justin Herbert to do what he did, especially this year and with the circumstances. And he had a really good year. So you want somebody there that's going to be able to nurture that and really help that grow. And I hope they get somebody for there. To me, the Jaguars, for everything that Pete said about the cap space, and then you're going to have the number one pick like everybody said, so you're probably going to get Trevor Lawrence. You have a really solid running back in James Robinson. DJ Shark is a awesome wide receiver. You have a really solid receiving core. And then the attraction of players coming there, it is Florida. There is no state tax, so that's also really cool. So I like the Jaguars job the most, but you can't deny the Texans job just because it is Deshaun Watson. I mean, top 5 statistic year for Deshaun, so you have to look at that as well and be able to do that with nothing around him for the most part. And no head coach for most of the year. So those are interesting jobs. The Detroit one, the problem for me with Detroit is Stafford. You're going to have to move on from him. You just have to. If you're Stafford, I think you also want to move on. There are going to be openings in the NFL, whether it's the Colts, whether it's the Saints, whether it's the Patriots. There are going to be openings. The Colts would be the best one, and the Saints, I think, too. If you went that way, to go for Stafford, just because those are teams that One, both are making the playoffs. Two, aren't going to be losing a lot besides their quarterback. So if you got a guy in Stafford who I think a lot of people have always believed is super talented, just in a really bad location, bad spot, that would be great. And the Jets are the Jets. I agree with PK 100%. You trade back, man. You trade that pick. You get more assets. You have too many holes. I mean, Justin Fields, if that's what you want to do and you don't want to you want to get rid of Sam Darnold, that's not going to fix your holes. You're going to end up in the same problem. There's too many question marks. It's not just the quarterback spot, right? It's a lot of issues. So go trade those picks, get more value out of it, and then let's see what the Jets can do with the proper system in place. Because, yeah, Adam Gase fucking blows. Blows. Awful head coach. Everyone talked about this guy being a quarterback guru. You know why? Get Peyton Manning. Great job. Great job. Way not to fuck up a future Hall of Famer in Peyton Manning. Thank you for that.
It's easy
Supposedly-
to be like a coach for the GOAT. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly Peyton kind of told the Jets to hire Gase, so that's kind of funny.
Well, and then, you know, his track record of supposedly wanting to start running a football team is really good then. Way to go, Peyton.
Yeah, pretty good.
Way
Pretty
to go,
good. 0 for 1.
All for one. Also, everybody that used to tell me, well, Adam Gase is great because he made Jay Cutler really good in Denver. Yeah, all right. Thanks. All right.
He did look good. Hey, Cutler kind of had some good years with the Bears with Gase.
He did, but boy.
He's
did.
probably good as an OC,
As a
not
coordinator.
good as a head
As a
coach.
coordinator.
Well, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is what's going to
Yeah,
happen. Adam
that's what
Gase is
happens.
going to go down to college, and he's going to go OC somewhere. And he'll get eventual coaching job in college, and then all of a sudden, in about 5 years, his name will pop up on NFL radars again, and someone's going to make the mistake again, thinking that he could be the head coach of a franchise, and it is what it is. Speaking
The
of,
latest rumor, real quick, about Gase, the latest rumor is Gase is going to go to New England and learn under Belichick.
boy,
Hey, if he was going to learn from anyone, it'd probably
Is
be Belichick.
McDaniels finally taking another job?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Maybe.
that would be the only thing, but I don't think he leaves. I
I
think he
would.
stays.
I would
He's
leave.
waited so long.
Well, I mean, it's not like, Gase is going to have jobs calling for him. I mean, he could take just like an offensive quarterback coach job or something like that.
I think he's gonna probably go to coordinator job or a quarterback coach
He's a
in the
bum.
NFL. I don't think he drops down to college level.
He's a bum. Just an absolute bum.
See him being a quarterback, like a coordinator at the college level to really. Yeah,
You've
because
seen
if he's
people
so good, with quarterbacks, then I mean, you can really shine.
Go down to
But,
Bama.
yeah,
Yeah.
Run the Bama
they do
offense.
need
Do
a
it.
coordinator. They do need one.
They do.
Yep.
How cool would that be? man? That'd be great.
I think LSU's still trying to really kind of replace Joe Brady after he left and came up to Carolina. So, and Joe Brady could be a head coach here. His name's already been rumored. So, good for him.
Good for him. Now let's talk before we get to our playoff picks and wrap this show up. Let's get into what happened Sunday night. Right? Philadelphia Eagles battled the Washington football team. Washington football team needed a win. If they win, they're in. If they lose, the Giants, who beat the Cowboys earlier in the day, would have gotten in as the NFC East champs. Jalen Hurts starts the game, and then I want to say, around 10 minutes to go in the game in the fourth quarter, Doug Peterson pulls Jalen Hurts, puts in Sudfield, basically saying, we're going to tank the fuck out of this game. Because they had
also after going for it on a fourth and goal, they could have kicked the field goal to tie the game too.
Yes. Now, that part doesn't... Like, my thing is, it's also a meaningless game for you, and you want to just put up the points, and you're going to go for it. Like, those are things that go. Here's the problem. What the Eagles should have done in general, if you're really trying to tank this game, right, just don't even play. Don't even play Jalen Hurts. Play Sudfield from the jump. You know what I mean? Just be like, because, I hear people, and we're talking about, well, the Chiefs did it. The Steelers did it. These teams that are benching some of their guys. Yes, they're already in the playoffs. Like, of course, they're going to rest their guys. That's just, it's a very different situation. However, Giants fans and Giants coach and players being upset, maybe don't only win 6 games. Maybe that should be your thing. Maybe your hope shouldn't have been, God, I hope this 6-10 team, we can get to the playoffs because the Eagles could beat the Washington football team. You serious? That is the equivalent of somebody wanting a participation trophy. Get good. I'm sorry. You were 6-10. Fuck off. That is just, that bothers me about that. Yes, what the Eagles did is, you talk about being wrong, or, you got people out here about crying because they're like, they're just destroying the sanctity. Listen, this is a business. If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm in the Eagles organization, I want the 6th pick more than the 9th pick too. It's just what the Eagles did. They did it in a way where, like, all the attention was on them. Instead of doing it, like, under the rug like everybody else does, the Eagles are like, let's fucking do it mid-game when we could win this game. Let's just do it now. Let's do it right here at the end. So I'm going to start with you, Pete. Your thoughts on the Eagle fiasco, and, yeah.
Well, to start, it's the NFL's fault because they decided to put Philly and Washington as the Sunday night game when it should have been Arizona against the Rams, because literally the winner of that game was going to be in the playoffs. So if the NFL didn't want on national TV to happen what happened, they should have done that. So that was first and foremost. Second, what the Eagles did, yeah, it didn't look great. I know that Peterson made comments earlier in the week how he was thinking about getting Sudfeld some time, would like to get him some time. It was very strange because the game was close at the end. So it's like, to him, the game didn't really matter. I don't know if they basically did that because they wanted to play some of their veterans during some parts of the game, because a lot of those NFL contracts are incentive based, whether they play a certain amount of plays. I don't know if that was the thing that he was going for, but it really didn't make sense too much. But, I mean, Ryan, you hit it right in the head. Any Giants fans or Giants players complaining, you're 6-10. Let's just shut up. How about you actually get over 500, and then, you can actually, have a gripe. Now, if you're the 10-6 Dolphins, then you have a little bit of a gripe there. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Come on. Maybe you should have won more than 6 games. That's terrible. But the whole thing, I mean, there's been drama with Philly all year. Now the players were saying that, they were pissed off that they weren't able to go in. Well, obviously they were. Why would they not be pissed off? Why would they be happy about that? So, yeah, I just think this got blown out of proportion. If this is a, noon kick for everybody on the Central Time, 1 o'clock here on the East Coast, this is a 1 o'clock noon kick, nobody talks about this,
nope.
I don't think.
Nope, 100%.
But because it was Sunday night, and Chris Collinsworth was talking about it, Al Michaels is talking about it, what's happening right now. Yeah, it just got blown up, and it sucks for the Giants, from that perspective. But come on, who knows? Even if Hurts plays, if they even win the game, anyways.
Yeah, 100%. David, your thoughts on the end of the season there, the Eagle fiasco with Washington?
What the Eagles did is obviously piss poor. It should not even have been done. They should at least have tried to win the game. At least not basically show that you're gonna purposely tank
at the end of the game that.
Yeah, at the end of the game, you definitely don't do that, right? If you're going to do anything like that, you don't even start Hurts, or you do it at halftime or something, right? Then it's all right, you took him out at half. All right, this makes sense. All right, it's not after you just want for it on 4th and goal. You stopped them. You're down by 3. All right, I'm going to put in my 3rd string quarterback. Okay, cool. All right, and then it was basically all downhill from there. And it's just uncalled for. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure the NFL, I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL makes a statement on it at some point, or it may do more low key. They probably don't want more headlines for it, but they'll probably personally tell the Philadelphia organization about something about it. You may get a small fine, but at that point, really cares? At that point, we're talking about 20 grand maybe, nothing.
Well, even if that, you can spin this anyway. People could spin this how they want, right? You could just say, well, we didn't want to keep risking Hurts out there. Like I said, it's the timing of the matter.
You can spin it a million different ways. You're right. Yeah. And then the Giant fans, I could see why they're upset. But yeah, you're also under 500. But kind of like what Pete said, what if the scenario was flipped? What if they were 10-6 and the Redskins or Washington football team, was 10-6? Right? Let's say they're both like that and you needed, Philly to win. Then does that change your opinion on how the outcome was, right? So I try to not think about what the Giants' record was and try to just think of what outcome could have been as opposed to what the records really were. Because either way, it's still a division championship for someone, and they still go to the playoffs. So, I can see why they're upset, and I would agree with them. I really don't care though. I mean, it could have been the Cowboys as well. At least it wasn't the Cowboys, because then you would have heard more about it, because there's more Cowboy fans than Giant fans. So, let's just say that's good for us, or for at least football fans. 'Cause we probably would still be hearing about that shit right now. But yeah, what the Philly did was completely wrong. And just uncalled for. And you know what? I bet you someone takes a cheap shot on the Eagles sometime next year, even though it may have been the coach's decision. But I wouldn't be surprised if someone gets a cheap spot, especially in that Giants Philly game.
Players don't tank, organizations do. That's what it is. BK, to round it out, this Philly took a shit, I guess, on the Giants. They took it, which, that makes that rivalry really cool, right? They also took a shit, apparently, at a lot of people in the NFL. So, your thoughts?
It's tough. Like, I do agree with y'all. I'll try to make this quick. The Giants fans, yeah, I guess you could be upset, but at the same time, yeah, like, just win more than 6 games. Try to go 7-9. Like, 7-9 teams have made the playoffs, so literally try to win one more game. But it's what y'all said. It's how they did it. They're going for it on the 4th down. I remember Al Michaels was like, "Whoa, you can just tie the game right now," and Chris Collins was like, "I know the stats." I was like, "Choke on it, please, just gargle." And so then it got worse with the whole Sudfeld thing. Yeah, no, I guess you could almost say it's a very Philly thing. I mean, they threw snowballs at Santa Claus. It's like, honestly, as NFL fans, like, we should expect even less of them. Just like, I mean, because the bar's low. Like, we honestly shouldn't be surprised. And did the NFL wholly choose to have this game on Sunday night? Didn't NBC select this game?
Well, I mean,
Didn't
who
they
do you think picks it? Oh, the NFL's got to have a say in this.
I'm pretty sure NBC didn't pick it. I think NBC only gets a certain selection. And that it was probably the better one of their choices. It was probably the only one that was probably playoff worthy for them to select.
Yeah. Boy, and that's upsetting too, because I know I looked at it last week. There's like 11 games in total that mattered. You know what I mean? That actually mattered this week. 11. And this is the one they picked.
And it's I think any person can say, what the Eagles did was in poor taste. I think everyone can say that.
Yeah.
But, it's the harp on the whole QB thing and the overimportance. I don't think you have teams tanking like this if there wasn't such an overimportance on drafting a QB, like number 1 and number 2 overall and all that shit.
One thing I just realized and thought about, I wish the Texans had their first-round draft pick, because they played their asses off last week, right? And they had no purpose for their whole purpose was to try to make Tennessee not make the playoffs.
Division rivalry, yes.
Yeah. And that's what their goal was, right? And even without their first round pick, they still tried that. I mean, obviously they didn't want probably Miami to get a better pick, right? But at the end, that's the only reason why I wish they had their first round. But they really tried to not make that team make the playoffs. Whereas Philly's like, you know what? I can have the spot.
It's tough, because for me, like, I'm looking at it, okay, like, as a fan, all right, if I was a Bears fan and the Bears were in this situation, I'm going to tell you, as a Bears fan, I want the 6th pick over the 9th pick, right? If I'm an Eagles fan, I also want the 6th pick over the 9th pick. It's just, I get it. I understand. Listen, it would pain me if the Bears roll over for the Packers. I mean, they do it now anyway, and they're competing. But, like, if they did it in this situation and that the Packers division was on the line, like, I would pray that the Bears wanted to actually win that game. And I'm sure those Eagles players did. It really sounds like it. Like I said, players don't tank. Organizations do. Because at the end of the day, you might love football, and I love football, but it's a business. And the Eagles had to do what was best for business. It was just done in poor taste, like we all said. And it was brought out in a very big spotlight on Sunday Night Football. I mean, hey, man, everybody was pissed off that the Jets won a game because of Trevor Lawrence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how you end the season, and that's just what it leaves you with a sour taste in your mouth going into the playoffs. If so, like, I mean, some fans they probably stop watching because they're like, all right, my team's not in the playoffs, and like they ended the season on that. They may not really care about the playoffs as much, and so you end on that, and it's just like cupcakes, man. Come on.
Yeah. And to Pete's point, like I said, if this game was at noon, no one would have cared. But
Yeah.
nobody would have cared anymore.
Well, I just think it was just the cherry on top for the whole entire Philly season. Let's just be honest. Like, there's been so much turmoil ever since the whole Wentz thing. Like, clearly there's a divide between the locker rooms. Some of the locker rooms still wanted Wentz. Some of the locker rooms still wanted Hurts. I mean, it was just the cherry on top. Was just how this season ended there was so much turmoil there in Philly. And that's just, what they decided to do. And that was, I don't know if this is Peterson's call. This might have not been Peterson's call.
Oh,
so
I
let's
am
not
sure
blame
Peterson
Doug.
got a call down from upper management. It was
Yep.
like, hey, so we ran this. If we lose, we're getting the 6th pick. If we win, we're getting to the 9th. You guys got this way too fucking close. Cut it. And what's he supposed to do, man? What's he supposed to do? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
This is like an post game. He was like, "I was just trying to win." No, you weren't.
Yeah, that was bad too. That was really bad too.
Well,
You were trying to win.
Okay, what is he supposed to say? If
Yeah,
management's
100%.
telling him to
Yeah,
do that, what is he
100%.
supposed to say?
Right.
I
I
come
agree.
on.
It's like, wanting to get Sudfeld reps. Really? Been there 4 years. I think you know what you got in them, guys. Let's just.
I love how they didn't even have Wentz
It's
dressed.
talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't even trying.
Yeah, and once
Wasn't even dressed.
Wentz came out, I think it said, he's like, I really would like to stay. I don't want this to end in a divorce. Good on you, bro, but, like, I get
Yeah,
it.
he does.
The organization treats you like shit. It's time to move on.
Kinda
Yep.
Real quick, breaking as we were doing this, the Houston Texans have found their GM. It is
Wow.
Nick Caserio from the Patriots, director of player personnel from the Patriots. That is the new GM of the Houston Texans.
Okay.
So, there you go.
Well, when
To the Patriots, shocker.
when has that ever gone wrong?
Goodness.
Never.
Oh, Bill O'Brien.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Oh shit. All right, let's do this. Let's
Man.
with NFL playoff picks. I want to run down. I wouldn't have included we would have picked him anyway for fun, but I wouldn't have included him into the score until David texted me and told me to do so. I was happy taking the dub. I was happy with taking the dub. Yeah, I was happy taking the dub, but it's cool. I'll do it. Currently, where we're at in standing. Case anyone's curious.
Season dub.
Yeah,
There you go.
There it is. Participation trophy. Ryan is at 56. That's me. Josh is at 54. Pete is at 53. David at 52. Dan at 49. And BK, after a strong week, gets all the way up to 48. Attaboy. I won't mention that Dan didn't make his picks or anything like that, but you're still right there. It's really pretty clustered, though, so depending on how these playoffs go, it's going to be pretty fun. So let's start it off. Indianapolis versus the Bills. I'm going to take the Bills just because I think, one, I boo Philip Rivers a lot, but I honestly think the Bills are a really scary team. Like, this is a team to watch out for, especially Kansas City. You should watch out for this Bills team, man. They're hot at the right time. So let's see. I think they'll be able to get this dub. BK?
Everybody circles the wagons to like the Buffalo Bills. I also want to take the team that's just playing really hot right now, and they're on fire.
They on fire. Pete?
The only thing I'm concerned about because of how good Buffalo is just because it's Buffalo. And they're hosting a playoff game. A lot of pressure. I'm just hoping that Josh Allen shows out here. But I think the difference in the game is going to be a Phillip Rivers mistake. Ryan's boy is going to blow the game. So I'm going to go with Buffalo.
Boo. Yeah, I hope he does, though. David?
I'm going with Buffalo, and even some of the Bills Mafia is going to be able to attend for their first playoff game.
Nice.
Or
Good for
even
that.
At least
Better.
first game of the season, per se.
Even
Oh.
better. Can't wait. Fuck yeah. Circle the wagon, baby. Let's do it. David, I'm going to start with you here. The Rams in Seattle.
I'm going to go with the LA Rams. There's a nice stat that Ramsey, when he locks down corner or wide receivers, he locks them down all year. So DK is going to have a rough day coming up because he had a rough 2 games the first 2 times they matched. And Russell's gonna have to go elsewhere with this football because DK is not gonna get the ball. So it's gonna be Tyler Lockett, but I think that defense just shows up, and they've had some pretty good matchups, so it's gonna be a nice matchup to watch.
At first, I thought he said BK was gonna have a tough time, and I was like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah,
well,
he's gonna have a tough.
I'm like,
time
well,
'cause
he
he's gonna be
does
ready
like
for that
DK
Raven.
good.
Depending on how that Ravens game goes, you don't know.
I was like, well, he does like DK Metcalf,
Next
so
day.
maybe he's going to.
Yeah.
BK, who are you going with?
I'm picking Seattle. I want to pick the team that's kind of played well going down the stretch once again. The hot team, Seahawks, even though they struggled a little bit against the 49ers, still on a 4-game win streak there to end it. I would say the Rams were limping in a little bit more. Lost to the Jets, also lost to the Seahawks already just a couple of weeks ago. And if Kyler didn't exit, yeah, they may have still won. But like I said, I'm going to take the hot team. I'm going to take Russell Hustle, Big Man Muscle Wilson, and my boy DK Metcalf. Who I said would be good.
That boy. And he was good. Pete?
I am gonna go with the Seahawks there as well. I think this is gonna be the lowest scoring game of the weekend. Because I don't know. I mean, even if Goff plays, I mean, just from a few weeks ago, it's just I don't think McVay trusts Goff, and Russell's gonna make a few plays. That defense though from the Rams is just very talented. And yeah, I mean, DK is probably going to get shut down by Ramsey. So I think that is going to happen. But yeah, I'm going Seattle here.
I'm going to go Seattle as well. I just think that they at least have gotten things kind of going a little bit in the right direction. The Rams, how is Goff going to look with that thumb? The running game's been kind of rough with some injuries now. But yeah, I know 100% that Rams defense is going to play great. So to Pete's point, yeah, it's going to be a really low-scoring game. I think Ramsey does lock down Metcalf or whoever he's on. I'm going to guess it's Metcalf. So Lockett's going to have to step up, man. Going to have to step up big, and that running game's going to have to get going. But I think Seattle wins this game. But this is going to be a really fun matchup. Tampa Bay and the Washington football team, BK.
To take Tampa Bay, even without Mike Evans, they're going to have this one guy, Antonio Brown, and he's not bad at football. He's a pretty good wide receiver. Washington football team they were really struggling against the Eagles. They do have Alex Smith, but that offense is just not very good. Shout out to Logan Thomas, though, former quarterback. He looks really good. Looks like he will be a solid tight end going forward for him. But I like Tom. I like that offense. I'm just going to pick them just because even if they get down, they can score even against that defense. They'll find a way just to score 14, and that's all they'll probably need.
Oh, that's a good point. Pete?
I'm going to pick Tampa for one reason and one reason only. Chase Young at the end of the game saying, "I want Tom Brady," because Tom Brady doesn't need much motivation. You don't poke the goat. You do not do that, and he's going to learn on Saturday night that you do not mess with Tom Brady. So I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. I'm a little concerned because Devin White's going to be out due to COVID protocols. So I am a little bit concerned from a defensive perspective. But, I mean, that Washington team, they just can't move the ball on offense. You could tell Alex Smith can just not move in the pocket. I mean, there was reports, I think Rivera was talking about having like a quarterback. It was like playing a couple different quarterbacks depending on the situation. What is that, man? Oh, God. So, no, I'm going Tampa. But Washington, the key to the game, if they can't get to Brady, it's going to be a rout.
Yep.
If they cannot get to Brady, it's going to be a rout. But, no, as soon as Chase Young said that, I was like, oh, God, Tom Brady's just going to fuel this up. So, yeah, I'm going Brady and the Bucs here.
David?
I'm also going to go with Tampa Bay. I think Brady's going to continue on. Maybe it may start off as a close game, but I think we all touched on it. Washington's not going to be able to move the football, and at some point they're going to get crushed. Tom Brady's always seems to figure it out in the second half, where they figure out that weakness, and they'll move that ball pretty easy and score some touchdowns. So, I'm going with Tampa Bay.
Let's get weird, man. I'm going to go Washington football team here. Yes, the key of the game is to get to Brady. If they get Brady dirty, I think they can get momentum swinging for them, really getting Brady's head a little bit. In all honesty, I haven't enjoyed what I've seen from Tampa all year long. They've been banged up. They've looked shaky at times. So, because of that, and because I think it's going to get weird, I'm going to pick Washington and Alex Smith to win a playoff game. That would be pretty sweet. I actually think, I might be wrong, the last time Washington made the playoffs, they played Tampa, right?
Yeah, I think it was in Tampa.
Yeah. I think Josh Freeman might have been there. So.
Oh yeah,
The GOAT.
throwback.
No, Washington made the playoffs with Kirk.
Isn't that the same time?
No, probably the last time was against the Packers.
Yeah.
Or is this the last
Oh.
time? Or is that the last time Tampa made the playoffs? It was against
Oh,
Washington.
it's probably the last time Tampa did.
One of the two. I just know they've played each other in
Maybe.
the last 10
I
years
was
in
like,
the playoffs. That's all.
No,
Washington made it there recently.
Tampa's like 14 years, I think, or something.
Man, I think
I
it
don't
might
know.
be
They haven't
around
made
that
the
time.
playoffs in a while.
It might
A
have been.
while.
I don't know. Who knows? I just know they played each other. It's all I'm remembering. It's right here.
Yeah.
And I just don't remember when. But whatever. Washington's gonna win this game. Let's go. BK. Well, no. I'm gonna switch this up. I'm gonna start with Pete. Pete, Ravens and Titans.
Well, I'm probably just going to touch upon the points that BK will talk about, but Baltimore's just hot right now. I mean, they put up 400 rushing yards. I don't care what defense you're going up against. I don't care if it's some D3 school, some local high school. You put up 404 rushing yards. That's pretty impressive. So last week when they did that against Cincinnati, that was impressive. So no, Baltimore's hot right now. And they're the hot team in the playoffs. It's kind of funny because I feel like maybe not them and Tennessee kind of flip-flopped on how they finished last year, but Baltimore's the hot team coming in. So, no, I think this is a revenge game. I'm going Ravens.
David.
I'm going the opposite. I'm going Tennessee. Obviously, Baltimore still has their weak points, and you talked about obviously Baltimore can run 400 yards. Well, Derrick Henry could probably run for 300 on it for the Tennessee on this Baltimore defense. If they just keep giving him the ball, he probably do 200 easily. It's definitely, I think this one may be the highest scoring of the week. Because both offenses, downside is because they run the ball so much. It may not be, but I think it may be the highest scoring, which would be nice because those are the playoff games we look forward to watching. But I think Baltimore definitely is going to come out for revenge, but I think Tennessee's still going to stop them again.
Here is a bold prediction for you. Derrick Henry will be held under 100 yards. The Ravens.
Want to shot bet on that?
Yeah, no, I can't drink alcohol this month. But otherwise, yes. I believe. Yeah, well, I'll do shots of water, bro. Stay hydrated. I do
Do a
believe.
shot water bet.
Yeah, bro, bet. I'll chug a whole bottle on stream if I'm wrong. I do believe that the Ravens, this is like pizza. It's a revenge game. They've been playing right. They're hot. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens. However, if this goes the opposite way, I wouldn't be shocked and or mad. I just think the Ravens are hot, so I'm gonna go with the Ravens. BK, I think I know where you're going.
The Baltimore Ravens, like Pete said, they are really hot right now. And just to counterpoint David, Derrick Henry, he did gash us last year, but Calais Campbell and Derek Wolfe both playing, and then also Yannick Ngakoue to get the really pass rush there. Brandon Williams didn't play in the game last year. He anchors the defense in the middle there as part of the 3-4 defense. He's right there in the middle. He did not play. He's a huge run stuffer for us. The Ravens defense ranked 8th in the run this year. Big improvement. I will take that, and then especially if the Ravens can just get up early, then I really don't see what Tennessee's going to do. They're going to have to rely on the pass too much, and I will take the Ravens secondary every time just because it's so good. Our safeties are a little unheralded there, Deshaun Elliott and Chuck Clark, just because they're being overshadowed by Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, who were just there's just assassins out there. They're just going to rip the ball out of your hands. But they're actually pretty good in pass coverage as well. So I'm going to take the Ravens. I do think it's going to be a good game. And if we lose again, then I don't know. I might have to burn something. Maybe just go fuck some shit up.
The new stuff that you bought for the dogs and the cat. There it is.
Burn that.
Well, it might be bad luck then.
Oh yeah,
You
true.
only won.
True. Yeah, true.
That's a good point.
Man. So we'll
take this nice new mug and just buy another one.
Hey, bro, listen, that's cool, dude. Do you? Let's get to the Bears. The Bears and the Saints. Oh, man. David, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go first.
Let's go with Pete first.
Okay, Pete, let you go.
All right. I'm going with the Saints. The game's played in the Dome. Yeah, the Bears played the Saints tough earlier this year. That's when Drew Brees was playing in, not 72-degree perfect weather. I mean, they're just a different team when they're in the Dome. Also, the thing that the Saints do well, the thing that the Bears do well, the Saints really do well against, and that's the run defense. I don't know. I just see the Saints just loading the box and daring Mitch to beat them, and that scares me if I'm a Bears fan. It's just going to be tough. I'm going New Orleans. That defense is very good, and I just do not see how the Bears are going to be able to move the ball. And the Bears defense is not the same Bears defense. If Jalen Johnson's out, like he was against the Packers,
God. Yeah.
They're just going to spread it out, and Breeze is going to pick them apart. So, yeah, I'm going to go New Orleans here in this game.
Every bit of me wants to pick the Bears. Every bit of me as a Bears fan. However, it's like you said, what I saw again against the Green Bay Packers made me just feel, boy, if they would have beat the Packers to get into this, I think that I would have felt better. I could have told myself, hey, there's momentum. Like, that's a thing in the NFL. That's a big deal. Mitch that's a big win under his belt. Instead, what David touched upon earlier was the Bears played a bunch of nobodies, and they ended up lucking themselves in the playoffs, right? I mean, that's kind of where we're at. The run game's been great, but damn, some of that play calling was really bad again on Sunday. So I'm going to go with the Saints. I'm going to cheer really hard for the Bears, and I hope it happens. But I'm going to go Saints. PK, honorary Bears fan?
So you really did want to pick the Bears, but what pushed it over the edge for me is that the game on Sunday, and Alvin Kamara, however you say it, is available. He's a damn good football player. He's a damn good football player. So I'm gonna take him, and that Breeze still has enough left in the tank, barely. So
just enough. Last time Kamara played, he scored 6 touchdowns. So
yeah.
See what happens.
I heard that was a record.
You know what I heard? I heard it might have been a record.
It's like the 20s.
I don't know who's playing in the 20s. Jesus Christ. Oh, that's probably the last time the Bears had a good quarterback, too. David.
Bro.
Dan, go Bear. Oh, Dan, you could be on the Facebook comments, but you couldn't have jumped on the Discord? Damn, bro. You could just jump in the Discord, my guy. David.
You may be traveling, remember?
Oh, yeah, true. Sorry, Dan. Sorry.
Sure.
Thanks for watching, at least, though. Love you. David. Bears or Saints, man. This doesn't have to hurt, bro. It doesn't have to hurt, I promise.
It does hurt because I really want to pick the Bears, like you said, right? I said that they have that chance of being that upset for this weekend. And it looks really nice because I think they can compete with New Orleans. It just hurts to say that they're probably going to lose still, so I'm gonna still pick New Orleans. And I really think it all comes down to like the key plays, right? We always say this is basically a turning point in every game, right? If they get a turnover, right?
God forbid.
Turnover. That's all that's basically the turning point of the game. And man, Bears had some chances against the Packers. That defense just dropped multiple interceptions. I mean, if Breeze is still hurt potentially. So if he throws an air kind of how Rodgers did, defense needs to catch the fucking ball, all right? And that's all you need. And then that's how the Bears could potentially win. And hey, maybe Mitch just bombs it. Maybe Mitch throws it 20 times to Allen Robinson. Maybe, there you go. Maybe that helps out.
Also, too, with the Bears, we don't know what's up with Mooney. We don't know what's up with Roquan Smith. Those are two really big pieces for the Bears this year.
Yeah.
Melissa says
Smith is back. That would be that'd be helpful because that he is definitely a weapon to try to help with Kamara.
Yes. Also, Dan said go Bears. Melissa said go Seahawks. That's fine too. We picked them too. But man,
Bit delayed.
It is. It was delayed. You should have said it earlier, Melissa. We just talked about it. You should have said it. It's okay. But I will say this, David. Yes, I feel all your pain. I feel it all. I want the Bear. I want to be like 100% balls to the wall, bear the fuck down, ready to go. And I just can't.
Where are you watching the game at, by the way?
With my dad. Watching with my dad and my grandparents. I'll be watching with them. Really excited.
Nice.
Yeah, my dad's coming
That's really
down.
awesome.
My dad's coming down because I believe. The stream's delayed for you. Oh, okay, Melissa. That's why. Go see.
You need to refresh.
Yeah, go see Oxley. You're all right.
Actually, don't refresh. Refresh, and you miss everything that was in between.
I'm sure it's delayed.
Sure, there it is. And then let's wrap it up. The reason that I believe my dad's also coming down is because of this next one. We've got the Browns. First time in the playoffs since 2002. Get to play the Steelers again, back-to-back. Big Ben will be playing. This is called the BK Bowl. So, BK, who do you got?
Taking the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also,
is.
don't forget, Marquise Pouncey is back.
Yes.
So, not that I'm trying to shit on Cleveland, but
You can do it.
Seems like
it was
our-
close. It was close last week. In Pittsburgh, a lot of guys are going to be playing that didn't play. Like I said, Big Ben, and then I think Marquise Pouncey is a big thing. He anchors the middle of that offensive line for them. And like P2 said, with just Myles Garrett by himself, that guy, I feel bad for him. It's just doubles and triples all day. It's going to be bad.
David.
Man, I want to go Cleveland just to say fuck Juju, but
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
like big time. I watched him. He was streaming Fortnite the other day. I was so tempted just to go in there and be like, "Fuck you."
You should have. You should have went in there and just been like, "Thanks for
Banned from his
costing."
Twitch chat.
Yeah, thanks for
Like,
costing
yeah, you have to
fantasy.
play Fortnite. Too bad you couldn't fucking actually play a fucking football game. But Pitt's probably gonna win this game, even though I want Cleveland to win.
At least you were honest. Elaine, oh Christ, I didn't know he was back. Sure is. Marquise Pouncey. Sure is. Pete?
Yeah. I'm going Pittsburgh. Cleveland's just got too much against it. They're not even going to have their head coach, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
It's possible coach of the
Forgot
year.
about that.
It's like, you're going to be without him. They're without their left guard. Joel Batonio.
Yeah.
I definitely butchered his name.
That's how I wanted to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a stud. The strength of the Browns team is their offensive line. When he was out, as well as Teller, that's why they lost the Jets. That, and they didn't have any receivers. So, it was going to be tough for them to win in Pittsburgh, even having all the troops there. Shorthanded, and for the NFL to just be like, hey, we're throwing this on primetime too. So it's just like, primetime, Sunday Night Football, like it's going to be tough for Cleveland. I feel like, they do have a chance in terms of no one's going to pick them. I don't see anyone picking them. In their right mind. So, hey, why not? Why not? 2020, 2021, been a weird year. Maybe they win, but yeah, the only chance they have is if they make Pittsburgh one-dimensional. Having Pouncey back is going to be huge for Pittsburgh, but if they still can't run the ball, it might not catch up to the Steelers right now, but it is eventually going to catch up to them. This whole, we're going to pass it all the time. So, but poor Brownies, glad they made it, participation trophy, but I don't think they're doing it.
So, my dad, diehard Steeler fan, for life. Mike, Metal Mike, Monster Hunter Mike, Steeler fan, for life. Dan's dad, Gary, Steelers fan. Me and Dan root for the Steelers because of that, because of our dads. So, it's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers waving the terrible towels, picking up this dub. Gonna beat the fucking Browns. Thanks for coming. Thanks for participating. Look at that.
So random.
There it is. There,
Juju,
there
but
it
also
is.
Red Sox.
There it
Disgusting.
is.
Just gross.
Let's go. The Steelers are going to beat the Cleveland Browns and then probably get bounced in the second round, but that's all right. They're going to at least beat Cleveland. So, Cleveland, glad you got there. That's awesome. It's something to build on for sure. But
Yeah.
Because they're going to if they win, they go to Buffalo probably. Well,
if Buffalo wins,
yes,
yes,
they would go, right?
Steelers or Buffalo, and I will tell you that that's not a revenge game for the Steelers. That's we're gonna get pumped again by the Buffalo Bills, so I ain't worried about that. But the Steelers, they will pick up the win this Sunday.
For the Ravens to play the Steelers in the second round, that would make me very happy.
That'd be sweet. That'd be really
Revenge.
sweet.
Yeah.
Instead of having to play the Chiefs, that would be really sweet for you.
Yeah.
You said yep. So we'll see how the playoffs shake out. Will any of our teams still remain? Well, Pete's will. Pete's will for sure. They have a bye week, so his team will be there. But will David's, mine, or BK's? BK, you have 2 opportunities here, man. You got 2 teams, so you should be. We're gonna see what happens.
Sadly, I think
I do too.
I think Pete's gonna be the only one that's gonna have a team next week. Per my picks. We will find out next week. For everybody that listened live, appreciate you, love you, thank you. You can find that on Twitter. It's at AmNationPod. On YouTube, search Amalgamation Nation. It's also on Facebook, but I think you have to be my Facebook friend to watch that, so don't add me. I'm not adding randos. I'm not doing that. All right, but you can find it at Facebook.com/AmNationPod. That's cool. You could do that. I'll tell you. I don't do anything on that page, but you could still follow it. That's pretty sweet. And on Instagram, at AmNationPod. I actually have tried a little bit harder to get a little bit more active on the Instagram side of things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Trying to get there. If you're listening on podcast services, thank you so much. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google. Make sure you follow and subscribe to that as well. If you're watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/UndeadRedBull, thank you. Also support David. Give him a follow and a sub. They have Amazon Prime. You get a free sub a month, so give it to Undead Red Bull. If you're looking for merch, just like that hot mug that BK's holding, I will post the links in the episode above if you're listening on podcast services. If you're watching it live, I'm going to tweet it and I'm going to pin it because it's easier for you to click it than for me to read it to you because you're going to be like, that's a lot of words and steps that I have to do. So I'm pin it. I'll pin it on there for you guys. Get yourself some sweet merch. We have a whole new Stay Breezy merch. So pretty excited about it. Pretty fucking hyped. It's way of life. So thank you very much for listening, everybody. Dan's not here, but I committed to myself today as I was driving home from work that no matter what, I will do a quote of the week every show. So I will, without further ado, will give you the quote of the week. Creativity is allowing yourself to make mistakes. Art is knowing which ones to keep. Scott Adams. Everybody, be safe. Hope you all had a great holiday. Welcome to 2021. Wear your mask.